radio, stream, or YouTube, or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
Good Monday morning, everyone. It is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you, back from a shorter weekend than most. We lost an hour. I woke up on Sunday and all my clocks were incorrect. And then 10 o'clock came up last night and I thought, whoa, it's a little early to be 10 o'clock now, isn't it? But there was nothing I could do because it's time.
I mean, there really is nothing you could do. You'd just be off from everyone else if you attempted to do anything, which then just very much is a you problem.
Correct.
And no one else cares.
That never really crossed my mind. There was nothing I could do about it. We just had to accept the fate that it was going to be a shorter day than the rest of them. And here we are in this Monday where everybody's lagging a little bit behind. Maybe the good weather can help people get going.
Oh, it was beautiful yesterday.
It was excellent.
It's going to be beautiful today.
Yeah.
Up to 73.
So let's
Good day for walking with your fake jacket.
That's true.
Yeah, you're not even real jacket, Joey. Sad.
Oh yeah, that was a whole thing.
It was. Thing that you created.
I don't even know if that's going to be a thing for me today anyway.
Well, of course it isn't. It's fake. The walking flannel?
No, I mean the walking in general today.
You're not going to get out there?
If I have time.
Okay. All right. Well,
Busy Joey today.
yeah, what do you got going? Bunch of stuff?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Might as well do this off the top. Yes, it was nice yesterday, and it would have been a great day to be around the rail yard and the Haymarket area and maybe catch a softball game or a baseball game before walking across the bridge, all of which was potentially in the plans of one Mike Schaefer
Indeed.
at one point in time. And then what happened?
A nameless child of which I might be, responsible for.
You only have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got sick, and it just ruined the plans for the afternoon. Anyone that has a small child knows when they're sick, they're just pitiful. The last 45 minutes of the game, we just went home. We were in Lincoln, had basically a full day, and then at about 2:30, our day changed entirely. We made the dash back to Omaha, Bennington, wherever I would.
You live in Omaha. You can keep calling it Omaha.
I never know what to do there. It's technically Bennington.
It's Omaha.
It doesn't seem like Bennington. Anyways, made it back for the game, and then spent the last 45 minutes of regulation and then overtime just holding my child as he just sort of softly whined while I was wanting to outwardly whine because of Nebraska just kind of collapsing upon itself there. But then they figured it out, and They came away with a very valuable win for them as they finished off a glorious 26-win regular.
I would say so, but man, what a buzzkill.
Oh yeah, no, there was a lot of me sulking, not wanting to hear about the atmosphere, not getting the text from people of, man, this rail yard right now, and then you'd look at the videos.
Yeah, this thing's a powder keg. You should be here.
I'm getting all the messages from my friends that are at the game about how emotional the atmosphere was and how awesome the scene was and how loud everyone was. And
it sounded loud.
Yeah. I'm just I'm in my living room.
I watched from home and I'd never had any plans to go. So I didn't have my day ruined, and I wouldn't have been able to go to the full game anyway, but I did. Which means I did get some of Kenton and Coach Smith on the radio call, which is, as always, very, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable.
It was...
every time I listen, I poke my head in for, I don't know, it just depends. Probably more than a handful of times this year, I've poked my head in for 20 minutes, right? Just a 20-minute viewing window. But they're always like, this season, I'm going to die.
Pretty much.
Every single time. Without fail, Kent's like, I think I'm going to die.
And if you're not getting that, you're getting the A-hole, B-hole,
which is classic.
Right.
It's great
Right.
stuff.
It's like a fullback running through the A-hole or the B-hole.
Exactly. One of those.
You're getting him just screaming, Sammy, my boy.
Sammy, my boy. Everybody has become his
then-
boy
yeah.
at a variety of different points this season.
Just a lot of yelling from Kent, who's absolutely enjoying this as much as anyone should.
He might be enjoying it the most.
Yeah, well,
Out of anyone involved or uninvolved or following along with Nebraska basketball's 26-win regular season en route to a very high seed in the NCAA tournament, Kent Pavelka might be enjoying it the most.
Yep.
He's been around long enough.
Yeah,
to
his
see
personal equity into this
Right.
whole thing is probably
he might
unmatched.
be the most bought in out
Yeah.
of basically anybody. So yeah, I think he might be. You could make a case that he is having the best time of anyone.
And people are having
And
a
there-
very,
and
very good
There
time.
are definitely people that are having a really, really good time right now. There's no doubt about it. All right, so that was the. I had some questions for Schaefer about the environment and the atmosphere.
Yeah,
Schaefer is like,
unfortunately.
I don't have your answers this morning. I'm like,
I mean, I
okay,
can just read text that I didn't really look at yesterday.
that could be fun.
instead.
That could be fun.
You can ask me the question. I'll see if I can pinpoint a good text
You-
explanation.
You could ask me about the Creighton baseball environment from this weekend. I'm sure they were equal.
I'm sure.
They were just about the same.
Was Matt McMaster as loud in booing the Creighton baseball team as Nebraska was in booing anything Iowa did?
Matt
before the game?
McMaster was at the Creighton baseball
Yeah, he
game?
posted a picture.
I
on
thought
Twitter.
he hated Creighton baseball.
That was the whole thing. He was going to show up and boo him.
I was receiving texts throughout. I just figured he flipped it on his TV and started watching or something like that.
no.
He was like, I bet
there.
something is going to happen here. And I'm like, oh, wow, Matt's watching the game. That's cool. He was there. Wow. I didn't even know.
He wanted to let him know that he didn't appreciate the smell that emanates from some of their living domiciles, I guess.
I suppose.
So-
I wonder how that went.
The bug is still here.
I wonder if he actually did that. Oh, yeah. That thing has found a nice, warm place to live inside of our 1620 The Zone
Yeah.
studios. All right.
We're a friend to all.
So here we go on a Monday, everybody. This is the final week of our potentially the final full week of our regular lives. Potentially all of our lives change next week. The brackets come out and maybe something special will happen as a result of the brackets or something like that. If you're a Nebraska basketball fan, and hell, even if you're a general basketball fan, you may view the world differently. You may view the world as pre-NCAA, B NCAA tournament win and A NCAA tournament win. So we're counting down the days, certainly at this point. Nebraska has a trip to the Big Ten tournament first. We'll talk about all of that throughout the remainder of the show today. The remainder is all of it. So welcome. The lineup today is Tim Verkees and Michael Brunts. They will join us at 8:30 and 9:15, respectively. You can email Connor, Mike, Joey, 1620thezone.com and the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. You can call or text 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. And ladies and gentlemen, the Zone Twitter feed is proudly sponsored by Liquid Trucking. Welcome to the family. Liquid Trucking. You can tweet at us at @HappenSchafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer, at Joe Warcola on Twitter. Hit us up on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers today who are ready to roll here on this Monday. Elsewhere today, we will get into, of course, the Nebraska basketball game from yesterday, a very gratifying win, what ended up being a very gratifying win after looking like it had the potential to be. I mean, that might have sent Jack Mitchell over the edge if that would have gone the other way in overtime yesterday.
Thankfully, Lincoln traffic after the game literally sent him over the edge. So
Did he drive his car off the road?
it seemed that way based on.
Sometimes it's your only option in that situation. It had to have been an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
It had to
There's no
have
doubt
been
about
really bad. So we'll talk about Nebraska basketball and how they are the number 2 seed, super mega bye in the Big Ten
They did it.
tournament. They indeed did.
Technically, they didn't even really do it themselves.
But they took
obviously
care of
the
their own
15
thing.
wins,
And we might see Schaefer's favorite non-Nebraska basketball player face the Huskers in the quarterfinals Friday.
Oh,
There's
Braden Smith.
there's an
And
opportunity for that.
According to some listeners, his chicken legs.
Which I had never considered, but I guess I'll really lock in on that. I watched that game against Wisconsin. Didn't think about his chicken legs at all.
So when I was referring to the super mega bye last week, I didn't know that the 1 and 2 seeds kind of actually get more of a bye. This is, we'll talk about, this is a disaster. This tournament, this conference,
I love how much
it's so large.
this gives you.
I'm not actually I'm just looking at it. I'm like, how do you guys come up with this crap? You know, same thing with every other conference in America who gives their 1 and 2 seeds like 9 buys and the bracket just looks like a flying V or something like that. This is you have an 18 team conference tournament. Everyone makes it, which by the way, I think is appropriate. Like everyone in the conference should make your conference tournament. And so they changed that this year. And the problem is there's 18 GD teams in the dang thing, and you have to figure out a way to make an 18 team bracket.
Yeah.
Which when you're doing options of here's the number of teams that works for single elimination tournament brackets, 18 is not one of the numbers that works very soundly.
Did you design like your own bracket for the Big Ten? Because now I'd be fascinated by how you would do this. You want all 18 teams. What do you want that bracket to
I don't
look
think
like?
there's any way to do it other than how if you're doing single elimination. There's no other way to do it. I mean, maybe you could do some sort of pool play. Are you interested in pool play?
It's not even a tournament anymore.
Yeah.
10 pool play.
It's pool play. Everybody plays, a group of teams. I basically am describing pool play. But yeah, I like the fact that everyone. I like the principle that everyone makes the.
Can they use
tournament.
the players era of Firefest or whatever?
Now nobody knows what that means. Nobody knows what they're doing there. I have no idea.
I want their metrics as to determine who.
No, you
moves
don't.
on.
That's one of the dumbest things of all time. That possibly is even dumber
That
than this.
week of where like I might fill in for a show, but nobody knows what time or which show or whether it's a real possibility until 2 minutes before the show starts. That was an incredible week.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
I know.
We were there.
I would ask Josh, and Josh was like, well, I'm asking Connor, and I don't think there's any clarity as to what. And it's like, how do you run this event? Yeah. So, I mean, there's that, I guess. So the Big Ten is slightly ahead of that for you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd say there's actually quite a sizable gap. Now the problem is in this tournament, you're playing for an NCAA tournament bid. In theory, it means something. In the Players Era Festival, they are playing for nonsensical rewards. Everybody in the tournament gets $1 million. I heard. I don't know if that's happened yet, but that is the goal of it. Anyway, so I'll complain about that later on in the show. We have a very questionable tweet from Seth Davis that I'd like to bring to your attention. We have Daniel Holgerson comments. Rob Orich also talked on Saturday as well, Nebraska's offensive and defensive coordinators. I would like to show you what Dana Holgerson said. You may be aware by now, but he made a very interesting player comp for one Anthony Calandria. So can't wait to get into that a little bit later on in the show. We'll get an NCAA tournament sort of like bubble outlook, even though there's not any local teams around here who really have to be concerned about this at this moment. But it's always fun to talk about. We have a few bids that have already been sealed, including the Summit League champion last night. Congratulations to North Dakota State. There are 2 bids to be sealed this evening, and we have a few in the book. So we'll have that. And then I will, once again, I feel like I have to do this every year for some reason. People, I don't think they like saying bid stealer, but they don't know actually what it is. So we'll describe it a little bit later on in the
I didn't know that was an epidemic
in the
across
show.
society.
If someone wins the MEAC, they're not a bid stealer.
Right, because the MEAC is getting
It's
one
going to
bid.
be a one bid league. Right. We only have like 8 or 9 potential bid
Who is
stealers.
getting this wrong?
I don't know. I bet there's a bid stealer over there. Everyone wants to call everything bid stealers. They're not bid stealers. Well, so we'll explain that a little bit later on in the show. The World Baseball Classic rocks, and we'll talk about NFL players who have been traded for multiple first-round picks, and another got added to the list this weekend in Mr. Tattoo, Max Crosby. Does he have to lose his tattoos now that he doesn't play for the Raiders anymore?
No, I think the Ravens still allow tattoos. They're not the Yankees.
They still allow them, but
It's not the same.
do you have to tone it down?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
The Raiders having a full body tattoo guy is like the best thing ever. It's the most.
Well, now Mendoza's got to step up to the
I know.
plate.
Yeah, somebody's got to get a lot more tattoos.
That's his job.
We'll get to our man of the weekend at the end of the hour, but I appreciate you guys joining us today. That is the setup for the show. We are off and running on a Monday here on 1620 The Zone. Well, now that Creighton basketball has moved out of town from the CHI Health Center, the Omaha Supernovas can fully take over. They are in action this Saturday at 7 o'clock at CHI Health Center, and we will have a chance to win you tickets into the game.
Yes, we do.
On Saturday right here on Happer and Schaefer. So stay tuned for the remainder of the week. Stay tuned always. Stay tuned for the remainder of the week. We'll have a pair coming out in the show today for the Omaha Supernovas. World Baseball Classic goes over the weekend. And, I was really locked into I found myself with an available Friday night, just randomly or not so randomly, with the Creighton baseball game not being played on any point at Friday, and we played 2 on Saturday. But so I had some time, and I sat down and I said, "What's on television?" I only say that to myself like twice a week, and it was the World Baseball Classic, which I was excited about, and I saw my USA Eagles, my USA Patriots, my USA guys taking on Brazil on Friday night. And then I was really pulled in by what I saw, which was a 17-year-old high school junior, maybe, playing and pitching against the United States, which is chock full of Major League All-Stars and MVPs and MVP candidates and things like that in a Major League park on Friday. And I'm like, all right, lock me in for this. This is exciting. I love, all these teams that don't have, these countries that don't have Major League players or hardly any of them. They'll just roll guys out there. They're like, all right, here's a 42-year-old, here's a 17-year-old, here's a 33-year-old guy who's like a teacher or something like that. It is awesome to watch those teams specifically go up against the United States, because anytime the United States gets out, you're like, you screwed up.
Yeah.
It's great. And what do you know? The 17-year-old pitcher ended up bouncing Aaron Judge into a broken bat double play with the bases loaded to end, I think it was the second inning, and get them out of that jam. And then so the reaction to that was funny, but anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. What'd you think of the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah. So on Saturday, it's Saturday, kid goes down to bed. You're trying to figure out what you want to watch. Same thing. There's like some good basketball going on. UNO was just getting like stomped at that point.
Sad.
Basically, by North Dakota State, who looks pretty solid as far as going to be a deep double-digit seed team goes. But so I'm looking
a
around.
future Nebraska first-round opponent,
right? And BYU is going to play Texas Tech, and that's later in the evening. There's just this like kind of lull where none of the games are all that entertaining basketball-wise. And the Quad Box has suggested I have the World Baseball Classic on in one of the corners.
You must listen to the Quad Box.
And then I just find myself like, the U.S. is playing Great Britain, and that's not the game of which had been suggested here. I was like, okay, whatever. And I'm looking at Panama versus Puerto Rico.
Hell yeah.
And this turns into being wildly entertaining with Puerto Rico, who has significantly more notable baseball players than Panama. Like, it's a
several
large gap between this. Now, Puerto Rico is hurt by the fact that Francisco Lindor broke his hamate bone, and so he's not playing. Like Carlos Beltran no longer plays for him. So they're not as good as they were a few years ago, but still relative to Panama, better. And Panama has like a 1-0 shutout going in this thing, and like
just
they bring in their
pressure's
closer,
just ramping up.
Right, they bring in their closer. Guys are getting on base. The crowd shots are just outstanding. Like the crowds at these are, it's just international competitions. There's a lot of chanting, a lot of yelling, a lot of just enthusiasm. And this guy who I've never heard of is trying to close things out for Panama. He can't. You go into extra innings. They have the weird ghost runner rule and extra innings in this as well. So there's just like all this drama. And I'm like locked in on this. Meanwhile, Shelby is like waiting for me to stop being locked in so we can watch the latest episode of The Pit. before like the next basketball game that I want to watch.
So you're
And
like,
I'm just
hey,
over here like,
I'm in it
hold
to
on.
the end. Yeah.
We don't need to get into the pit and the 15 storylines of sadness that it's going to bring me right this moment. I need to see if the Ticos are going to come back against Panama. They end up pulling it off. Is the second walk-off so far of the World Baseball Classic. It's Darrell Hernandez, who is he's an Oakland A, or formerly Oakland A, I guess Vegas A. So he hits the walk-off home run for Puerto Rico.
Not a Vegas A yet. Still got a
Sends them
couple
all
more years.
into just like pandemonium. Just it's very cool watching how much it means to some of these other countries. It's like just a huge event for them. And then around here, it's like, hey, Clayton Kershaw's pitching for Team USA.
Well,
that's nice.
So that's the other thing.
He's still giving up home runs.
That's the other thing that happens. Like obviously it means a lot and you can tell, but a lot of how you can tell is the very loud show of emotion, especially by the Latin countries. And and the USA has one of the most talented teams, if not the most talented team.
It's USA or Japan.
They sort of go about their business at a very, they try to ramp it up a little bit. And the new wave of young baseball players that has kind of taken over this roster, I almost sort of view it like a Ryder Cup or something like that.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Where you just get this new wave and all of a sudden the culture of the team is different. Before it was very, quiet, stoic, workmanlike. This group is a little bit more fun.
Baseball player-esque.
This group is a little bit more fun because they're, I just think, younger.
Yeah.
But it's very, very obvious when you watch the United States compared to, whatever other country you want to mention. And how, I mean, they're jumping and running around, spinning and all sorts of things, tossing bats like 900 feet into the air. It's fantastic. So you just get a little bit of everything. And right now we have Korea and Australia going in Pool C. Yes, that's right. Right now there is baseball going on. It's fantastic. I really enjoyed. So Judge, as I mentioned before, grounds into that double play against the 17-year-old, and which was just fantastic. And he's the son of a former major league pitcher. It was Jose Contreras' son, Joseph Contreras. So he's pitching at a academy right now in the state of Georgia, and they were talking about he's got to go do homework. He was studying math this morning. I don't know if he actually was studying math that morning, but we get the point. He's in high school and he's out there pumping 97. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is great. And the bases are loaded and Aaron Judge comes to the plate. And I think it's 3-2 or he's got him with 2 strikes. And he gets a broken bat, Aaron Judge 5-4-3 double play.
Look at that
to end the inning. And I think
that's math.
I think he should get to keep the bat for the record, which I mean, it's, you have to keep the bat.
Mr. Judge, will you sign this?
Seriously. I mean, I'd be, if I was 17 years old pitching against Aaron Judge, I'm like, I don't really care. I'm going to be really embarrassing right now, but I'm going to ask you to sign this bat. But I love, we also had a classic instance of Yankees fans that got involved here as well.
Oh, good.
Because obviously everyone was looking at that and saying, Judge grounded into a double play. But nobody actually cares that Judge grounded into a double play against a 17-year-old because this is baseball. And sometimes you do, sometimes guys can get way
the best
better.
Players
guys
get out 7 out of 10 times.
Exactly. And the Yankees fans are like, why are they making such a big deal about it? Why are they saying all these things about Judge? Like, dude, all right, hang on. Calm down. It's okay.
Incredible.
It's March.
The most humorless fan base.
I know. I think so. I really think so.
It's incredible.
I don't know who else would be in that competition for most humorless fan base. They just cannot take jokes about anything.
Anything ever.
No.
Even when you're not even
you go in even harder. Now you're like, remember when Judge got into that double play against that 17-year-old, the World Baseball Classic, some clutch on that guy, huh? Well, Captain America, my ass.
It's reached a point where you used to joke about how they just bought everyone and they would be sensitive to that. But now you joke about how the Dodgers are the new Yankees, and they're sensitive to that, too.
Interesting.
And it's like, oh, they don't have this history, and they haven't won this, and they haven't done that, and blah, blah, blah. They don't have a Derek Jeter. No, it's okay. I think they'll take not having a Derek Jeter and continue to stack their titles as they're about to do here.
Yeah,
So,
people forget the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009.
a long time.
It has been a long time. I saw a clip over the weekend of the last game at the old Yankee Stadium.
Oh.
And
Was that 08?
it was 2008, end of 2008. And I was having trouble putting together the context, and I never really looked it up. But they were talking as if the Yankees had a road swing still ahead of them, and they were kind of still in the playoff run, but they were pretty sure that the Yankees were going to miss the playoffs. So
wow.
they were pretty sure that the Yankees were, that was it for Yankee Stadium. And it was John Miller and Joe Morgan. And I was like, wow, this is Sunday Night Baseball.
Yep.
How I remember.
Sunday Night Baseball used to be a thing. Like, I would get so excited. And a lot of it was growing up. This is where you just feel like you're the oldest person on the planet, even though you're not. But growing up, like, that's how you got to watch a lot of teams, because it was the Cubs or the Braves or, that was, or whoever they're playing. And then maybe, was it Wednesday Night Baseball? Wednesday Night Baseball doubleheader where you get a West Coast game and you'd have like a 6 o'clock start. You might get two East Coast teams or whatever.
I feel like they would occasionally do a Monday,
Yeah, that sounds right.
But maybe, yeah. But now it's
a lot of baseball tonight. Like when you were talking about
tonight.
Carl Ravitch the other day.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't you, but it was
Matt. No, I did mention Carl Ravitch.
Well, you're like, you didn't ask him about baseball tonight. And then obviously Matt would not know of that existence.
Oh, I know. I also thought about Carl Ravitch this weekend because I was opening the big windows in the booth at the Chuck Box, and I slammed my hand into the.
No,
it hurt so bad. I thought I broke my hand, and I said, I yelled, I bet Carl Ravitch isn't doing this. And that was my exclamation that I was injured. I was like, somebody give me an agent. I bet Carl Ravitch isn't doing this.
Incredible.
You think Carl Ravitch is opening his own windows?
I kind of want that to become a show thing.
I bet Carl Ravitch isn't.
Like,
look at my hand, Schaefer. It's swollen, and there's a mark on top of it.
I don't like that.
Carl Ravitch would never. He would never.
That's got to be a thing. Like, you're halfway through a rant gong and you just drop it in there. I mean, Carl Ravitch wouldn't be dealing with this.
Ravitch wouldn't be dealing with this. And now we're co-workers on the same network, ESPN, of course, and I'm on ESPN Plus. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, you should ask Carl where his guy is that does these things.
That opens the windows for him. I agree. I really should. So I'll get in contact with him. I'm sure that we'll be available to do that now that we're both friends of the Mickey Mouse Network. Anyway, baseball is good. Baseball is back. Nebraska got a sweep this weekend against Michigan State. Creighton took 2 out of 3 against Gonzaga. I saw Omaha was up in the dome this weekend, up at the Bird Killing Stadium. We sent Gonzaga off to the Bird Killing Stadium. They'll play there on Tuesday. Creighton is going to Alex Box to play LSU on Tuesday, where LSU is coming off of a bad week, losing to Northeastern and then losing 2 out of 3 to Sacramento State. Yikes! And the Creighton Blue Jays will be welcomed in. So one of two ways to look at it: either they will be prepared, or they are in a very, very bad mental state at this point. So I
saw this Ben McLaughlin tweet that he mentions the LSU thing as well in the series with Sacramento, but I guess Florida needed a walk-off to avoid getting swept at home by High Point.
I believe that is the case.
We got some college baseball pandemonium early.
This goes into my random thought from a couple weeks ago. Does it feel like there's more upsets?
Could be.
Maybe.
Could be.
It also could just be baseball.
Yeah, early season baseball. Who knows how it's all going to go? But look, Nebraska had a very strong week in baseball, winning midweek games, winning weekend games, overcoming their own issues, dominating on Sunday to what I have to assume was a wonderful scene on that bridge as people marched across to senior day. I wouldn't know about it.
You could have been on the bridge.
Could have been on the bridge.
Nebraska baseball will play Wednesday this week against maybe future NCAA tournament basketball opponent North Dakota State, and then a weekend series against Maine. I heard Nebraska is selling lobster rolls at the concession stands this weekend. Is this true?
I mean, I hope it is.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
They should do that. A slice of the
I
opponent.
like that a lot. Lobster rolls and blueberry muffins. You get the taste of Maine.
Okay,
right
that would be incredible. Now it would cost probably $42, but they should try it.
Especially if you're getting the
It's
real
good.
blueberry.
It's good up in Maine. I tell you what.
Yeah, you guys are both been to Maine,
Yeah.
guys.
I went to Becky's Diner over in Portland, Maine. They got great lobster rolls over there.
Whoa.
They're open at 5 a.m. in the
You
morning.
guys are speaking my language. I would love to go to Maine and get a lobster
Maine
roll.
is incredible. I want to go back
It's
all the time.
beautiful over there.
Dang. That's the furthest north I've been is probably Boston.
Okay.
Not good.
That's close enough.
I guess I went to Vermont when I was a kid, but we discussed that. I don't think that.
You're not counting it.
I don't think it counts. I don't
Okay.
really remember it.
That's
All
fine.
right, let's take a break. Our man of the weekend. Now, here's what I want to do. I think I know both of your men of the weekend.
Sure.
I think I know both of them. I'm almost positive I know Joey's.
I'm between two, and whichever one I say is what I end up saying.
I have an
haven't
honorable mention. If I have an honorable mention in mind, and I kind of
You just tell me who your man of the weekend is, and I want to
Yeah.
see if I'm right.
Yeah. will
And
definitely do that.
you
said.
guys
Do
can.
you want us to like put this down somewhere?
Oh yeah, we'll get a slip of paper out and we'll
Okay.
write it down.
All right.
And I will write my guesses down. You guys could guess mine, but I don't think you're going to get it.
I won't.
I might have an idea.
Well, you clicked on the link, I'm sure. Oh,
Well,
you have an idea?
No, I didn't click on the link.
I don't think you do. I don't think
You know
do.
I didn't click
I
on
don't
the
think
link.
you do. We'll be back with our man of the weekend coming up on 1620 The Zone. in a new wrinkle to our man of the weekend. We have each sliced up a piece of paper, and we have guesses for each of our counterparts on this show, where our brains might be at for our selection for man of the weekend. Also, Schaefer, for posterity's sake, has both of what he might pick written down.
I put down a considered, and then I have my actual pick.
Okay, good. Does anybody like? Well, let me start because I have two written down on my sheet here of guesses, and then I'll tell you about mine a little bit later. So here is what I have. My guesses, as you can see on this piece of paper, Mike Schaefer, man of the weekend is Cale Jacobson.
Incorrect.
Joey's man of the weekend is definitely Jason Tatum.
Yep, that is correct. I do have a dishonorable mention I would like to talk about.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure there is no doubt ever that Jason Tatum would be Joey's man of the weekend. The backup could be Baylor Shireman, but you know,
I said dishonorable mention.
For Joey, I wrote Baylor. It's always Baylor.
Well, it's Jason Tatum. He's back.
It was Jason Tatum.
He played.
He's back.
What did he? So he was pretty good, right?
Yeah, he started off rusty in that Mavericks game. He missed his first 5 shots, and then he hit a stray of 6 consecutive shots. He finished the game 6 for 16, but scored 15. And then yesterday they played the Cavs on the road, and he started out great in the first quarter, and then he was kind of quiet for the rest of the way. But when Cleveland came back, he hit a dagger 3 to kind of seal things. Had 20 in that game. But he looked good. He was not on minutes restriction. I was surprised Joe Mazzulla started him right away and let Baylor just ride from the bench, which he had a great performance yesterday as well, with 16 points. But, yeah, 35 points for 2 games for Jason Tatum.
Dang.
And 27 minutes in both games.
Dang. Now we have to talk about Jason Tatum playoff narratives again, which will be exciting in April.
They're 2.5 games behind Detroit, who's on a 4-game losing streak.
Okay, Schaefer, your guesses.
My guess for Joey was Baylor. It's always Baylor.
Okay.
And that ended up only
Show everybody on camera just so we make sure you're
partially
not
correct.
lying.
These are
All right.
are my guesses. That's everything written down. You can see my own up there as well if you'd like. And then for Connor, my guess was he was going to award it to Fox for broadcasting the double Hurley box on Saturday, in which you got to see one Hurley ejected, losing his mind.
Pretty good.
And then the other Hurley at the exact same time getting called for a technical.
Really good guess.
Good.
I very much appreciate you guessing that because it did at one point garner consideration.
Wow.
But
Dang it.
but that was ultimately not the selection.
All right.
And your man of the weekend is
My man of the weekend is Fred Hoiberg.
I
Tremendous.
was close.
I was
tremendous
close
weekend.
too.
I said Sam Hoiberg.
I figured we were going to talk a lot about Cale, so
Yeah.
there wasn't any reason. Like a lot of times, man of the weekend is trying to work in something else,
Something
to
different.
discuss.
Yeah.
We would talk about Fred, but this gives me more opportunity to talk about it in a slightly different way. I will say I considered Case Sanderson's walk-off home run over on Saturday a bomb, and then a terrific bat flip.
Yeah, he got that
Just
thing up
a
there.
Excellent bat flip.
What do you think
Really-
about it? 14 feet? Something like that?
He got height on that thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so as someone who believes in letting them flip, I love seeing that from him on Saturday. And Nebraska's bullpen specifically needed that after giving away another lead late, giving away the lead. It was tied, and Case Anderson ends up walking off. But Hoiberg, obviously just a super awesome weekend for him just in general. You get the win against Iowa. It's your son's senior night. So you have all of that emotion. Awesome stuff. Your partner in crime, Mitch Sherman, tweeted this. The Spurs sent Jack Hoiberg up from San Antonio so you could be there for this. So that's a really cool moment. They finish off a season in which they went 26-5. And no one wants to remember this, but it's not hard to go back, and I could find some of the tweets I have where people were wanting him fired last year for Nebraska's.
Fred?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Those people are sick. Don't listen to those people. I remember that conversation, but don't listen to those people.
But that was like a real thing. There was other sports people.
Yeah, I know. Not from real people, though. Not from people with brains.
I will refrain from adding commentary.
I don't know who
on
these
that.
people were, but
But
my God, people.
They went 26-5, and just a tremendous coaching job from Hoiberg. an excellent season there. He's going to be rewarded with it. I think there's going to be some news that comes out as early as even today that Fred Hoiberg and Nebraska will be joined together for quite some time.
A marriage.
It is
A renewal.
The wedding.
A renewal of vows.
And, there's obviously a lot more to come. But yesterday was such a great moment to reflect on what this season has been for Nebraska. Certainly the careers that those guys have had. And then if you think about it from Rink Mast and Jamarcus Lawrence and Sam Hoiberg, like they are part of why, along with Fred and a bunch of other players, Nebraska is elevated from this sort of, joke of a program to legitimately going 15-5 in a very difficult conference.
Did you ever feel bad yesterday? Because I sort of did for all the seniors not named Sam Hoiberg, because it really was Sam Hoiberg's day.
I did and I didn't. Like, I think there's a genuine, a very genuine appreciation for Rink Mast and Jamarcus Lawrence.
There is, but it's not like
But
Sam.
it's just different.
Yeah.
Like, it's, this is a guy, like, watching his career play out the way that it has just been amazing. Yeah. And then, yesterday playing out the way that it did with several vintage Sam Hoiberg moments in there and everything else. Like, it was very cool. That's how I expected it to go. And that's what we got. But it had to have been an awesome feeling as a dad to watch your son in that moment.
So Fred is Schaefer's man of the weekend. We'll have more on Nebraska ball in just a little bit. We already know who Joey's man of the weekend is. Would you like to throw out any guesses for the rest of the? Would you like to throw any guesses for me?
I was going to say yourself, because you get to call baseball again.
Now,
and you
also
you worked a long doubleheader.
Also
on Saturday.
Garnered consideration, not just for the doubleheader, but for the slamming of the hand in the door. And I, Rob Sims could attest to this, who was doing the games with me over the weekend. I think it was the second game on Saturday. My leg went into mega cramp mode.
Oh no!
While we were in the middle of the broadcast. And so I'm going like this, and I'm trying to hold the mute, like talk back button. Like I cannot be up because I'm probably grunting and making weird noises right now. And I'm trying to just figure it out. And Rob's looking at me like, dude, are you like, what's going on? And I'm like, still talking about baseball. I'm like, here's the pitch to McHugh. It's like, I'm like, so I gained consideration yet again, but no. My man of the weekend is not a man at all.
Oh, so I was relatively close.
It is not a man at all, and it's not a television network for putting up a double Hurley box. It is an ice cream sandwich. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Look at this beautiful, beautiful thing on the screen right now if you're watching with this on YouTube. That is from the Tokyo Dome, and that is an ice cream sandwich that looks like the Tokyo Dome that they are selling at the World Baseball Classic. I want all stadiums to be to make an ice cream sandwich out of themselves. That sounds amazing. Could you imagine if during the summer we had a Charles Schwab Field ice cream sandwich?
But it's not an enclosed thing. So like, what does that look like?
That's true. I don't know. You'd have to get creative. Our friends from Levy, get on it. Time to make a Chuck Box ice cream sandwich, or at the very least, all dome stadiums should have an ice cream sandwich. Here's another look from the top. If you're watching along with us, that is my man of the weekend.
You've never been there, but one of the joys of going on the trip to watch Nebraska play Purdue at Ross-Ade Stadium is that Purdue's media meal, they'll have other stuff, but they'll always have these hot dogs that are branded with the word Purdue on.
Really?
And that's what it looks like with the Tokyo Dome shot of it. It's just like,
there it is.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's all I think of is just like Purdue branded into the side of the hot dog that you're about to eat for their media meal.
I appreciate that. Like, put a little flair on it. And I think that's what
exactly. Tokyo Dome.
That's what they did at the Tokyo Dome. So that is my man of the weekend. The very first ice cream sandwich to ever win man of the weekend.
Incredible. Had to go all the way to Tokyo.
On Happer and Schaefer. All right, we'll come back 7:00 hour. We'll get into Nebraska ball and everything else that happened over the weekend. Coming after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, 7:00 hour of Happer and Schaefer. We're in this very short period of time right now where daylight savings has just changed over, and it is not going to get light outside until like what? I mean, near 8:00,
Something like that.
I think at this point. So the theme song,
7:45.
the theme song of Happer and Schaefer has never been more true. You're up and it's still dark, which will almost certainly be the case for just about every working person in Omaha over the next couple weeks, and then that'll straighten out, and then all of a sudden we'll have sunshine. But right now, have fun on your commute to work and your first full work day of the time change, which I'm sure everybody's moving maybe a little bit slow this morning. But good morning. You know who wasn't moving slow yesterday? Nebraska basketball. Well, I suppose you could argue for the last like minute and a half of regulation, they were moving kind of slow.
There was it was even longer than a minute and a half. I'd have to go back and get the actual number on it. But there was like this stretch where their defense just allowed a basket like every.
Yeah, they were going back and forth for a while. Luckily, Nebraska was scoring.
This is not the game that I was expecting to see break out late in the second half. So they were maybe rotating a little slow to cutting off Iowa's lane to the basket. Maybe you could say that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where daylight savings got them. But as you mentioned, they were trading baskets of their own, and that allowed them to, at the very least, navigate that thing at the very end and come away with a much needed win.
Indeed. So let's get into it a little bit here as they finish off the regular season. I mean, I guess we could look at the big picture first here. Nebraska finishes off the regular season 26-5, 15-5 in the Big Ten Conference, where they end up being the number 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. So they won't play until Friday.
Yeah, they play Friday at 5:30.
Won't play until Friday at the Big Ten basketball tournament, which is awesome. You take a whole week and get prepared for a team that has either played 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 games leading into that time.
Sounds about right, yeah.
So the way I figured it out, so they get the winner of Penn State, Northwestern, when the winner gets Indiana, and the winner gets Purdue, and the winner gets Nebraska.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't think it's very likely that Penn State or Northwestern make their way into the Big Ten quarterfinal.
Going on their run.
I don't believe that will be the case, but you never know. The run is available to anybody around this time of the year. But the 2 seed the Big Ten tournament, which is a heck of an accomplishment. 2 seed, the second place finisher in the Big Ten. Man, yesterday was a lot for Nebraska. I mean, you need a lot of contributions from a variety of different people, but it was Cale Jacobson of all people in the end of regulation and in overtime, who ended up knocking down a couple big shots and was about as consistent as he's ever been. He gets, by the way, the elusive KenPom MVP for going
first one this season. I saw
it's got to be the first one of his career, unless there was
had a crown.
Unless there was a crown game. Now he was not an MVP in any crown games last year, although he did play 36 minutes in that first Georgetown game in the crown last year. But anyway, Cale Jacobson on Sam Hoiberg's senior night, stealing all the thunder. What a jerk.
What a jerk. I'm sure no one was too upset with him by the end of that. He was outstanding, and it was like on both ends of the court. He played great defensively, and then he's bringing it from an efficiency standpoint on offense, where he's knocking down a couple shots, and then he's hitting threes, and then he's finishing it at the rim, and he was about perfect. I think his only miss of the entire game was from the free throw line.
Correct.
And so he really couldn't have asked for a better run of play from him. That's part of it. Like when we've talked about where Nebraska is at its most dangerous, it's when they can have really any of their players kind of step up and have sort of a stretch where they can carry a team that sometimes can get into a funk offensively. And he stepped up in that overtime. He stepped up at the end of regulation. When they were sort of trading those baskets with Iowa as well.
Well, he among many yesterday, I thought, were just the beneficiary. I mean, you saw quite the swift reaction on both sides to the game that those two played in Iowa City a couple weeks ago. I thought Nebraska actually really managed the physicality a lot better and probably was the aggressor in that game, which I think that's a huge thing to put out there for Nebraska, just because, against some really physical teams that want to get up underneath you. It's been a little bit more of a struggle this year. So I thought they sort of took it to them, which was huge. And then Iowa's response was, Price Sanford is not killing us today. We are making sure that is not the guy that goes off. And all of a sudden, Sam Hoiberg and Cale Jacobson and even a little bit of Berkay.
I was going to say Berkay is maybe the unsung guy of this whole thing.
And Jamarcus too. I thought Jamarcus Lawrence was probably the best that he's been in a few weeks.
Yeah, other than the free throw, if he just makes a couple free throws at the end, nobody's even. We're probably not talking about Cale in the same way. Two people that bet Nebraska to cover aren't probably getting the cover that they want out of this, that they got out of the overtime.
What was the line?
6.5.
Really?
Yeah,
that's big.
Well, I
would have thought
parts of the second half. It felt like they could probably have tripled that number, and yet Nebraska, who was making shots,
on coming. Yeah,
they couldn't get away from a team where it's like I had boastfully told Shelby, if Nebraska just gets to 60, 65 points, it's in the bag. Well, they needed 80. So
I heard people. I mean, there was a couple of people that got in touch with the show this week. Is like, you must be insane if you think that Iowa is going to be anywhere close in this game. And they're like, "See, told you, Nebraska won by 9." I'm like, yeah, they went to overtime. It was. Yeah. I mean, Iowa. I think they. As I said before, when they played them in Iowa City, I don't really think much of that roster.
No,
I don't think it's a very good one. Sturtz is obviously really tricky to handle, and Nebraska did a much better job with him in this game than they did in Iowa City. And then, Koch made 6 threes, which is I think
that's the biggest. There's two things.
But Fulgaris is good. He was pretty good in that game too, and made a crucial pass that resulted in the 3 to tie the game with Combs at the end of regulation. So they kind of just put it together. That they're getting the most out of what they're doing, I think, in Iowa.
Well, think about it this way. I mean, Nebraska held them to 33% shooting at Iowa City and lost. On the road at Nebraska, they shot either 50% or slightly better than 50%. And this is not exactly an Iowa team that's known for being a particularly strong shooting team either. And they found their rhythm in the second half. They got downhill on Nebraska. They were scoring in the paint in the way that I was not expecting in this game as well. And it wasn't really Bennett Sturtz. It was Nebraska doing everything they could to take him away, while other guys on Iowa stepping up throughout the last 10 minutes of regulation to give them that opportunity, to where, Nebraska had done a great job all game rebounding. It comes down to this team, and Sturtz missing that shot so badly. It was a pass, basically.
Air balls are hard to rebound.
And then a great pass to get it back out for 3, where I almost wonder if Nebraska wasn't going to try to grab the guy to just foul him, put him on the line.
Well, I thought that was going to be their play. No, I
think Sturtz shot it before they were going to foul. I think they wanted to get to a certain amount of time.
But I just wondered, usually you say, all right, we're going to do it 4 seconds or something like that. But you have to be very, very careful when you get that close, because you don't want to foul on a shot. And Sturtz got it off quickly. I don't know off the top of my head. Is Fred a foul up 3 guy?
He hasn't been, though.
Yeah, interesting. Not that you have to be one way or the other. It's obviously very situationally dependent. Some coaches are staunchly foul up 3 guys. And I was sort of surprised they didn't get to it at that point.
I could see
the opportunity didn't present itself.
I could see where you're like, we are not the best rebounding team, and they are not a particularly good 3-point shooting team.
Yeah.
So if they make it, they make it.
Right.
That would be and both of those played out into that factor. They didn't rebound the 3, miss, and then, Iowa ends up hitting that 3 to tie it. I thought, as impressive as that was, Nebraska gets up 5 in overtime, and then Iowa comes right back and ties it up again. That's where I was mostly like, what happened to this Iowa?
Where these guys come from?
Yeah, this is not what I expected.
Yeah, people are like, hey, Nebraska's going to have a party. It's going to be even when you blow it at the end of regulation, really, you get to overtime and you jump out in front. It's like, all right, now
we're smelling
I mean,
blood.
I've watched
like
Big
we're
Ten
going.
overtimes where 5 points is a total between the two
Exactly.
sides, you know?
Well, then you get down after that and they threw it away, and it's like, all right, they ran out of steam finally. I don't know what they were doing on the pass that was it Sam or Jamarcus picked off just for free.
Sam, I think.
They tossed it across the width of the court. They were like, all right, we're gonna lob it over. At that point, the game was probably already over, but it got it got intercepted, and a pretty perfect capper, I think, to the regular season. Nebraska earned that and deserved that moment for for beating Iowa. That's for sure. So big picture takeaways. We've known this for a while, but I think it's worth repeating as the regular season is rounded out now. However far this team goes, and there's a certain amount of worth that you're going to get out of the postseason result one way or the other, which sadly it's but now we can look at 26-5 and say, this is a body of work. All right, let's evaluate this. I think it's worth repeating that however far they go, you really don't have to worry much about them playing to their capability outside of just a few isolated instances this year. Maybe you would say the game at UCLA, but even that, I think you're playing more the result than anything. They miss shots and
they had an uncharacteristic off night. He really one of the only ones I can think of all season?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, it's just the results of the shots going in. I didn't think they really lacked the tact that they usually bring.
They didn't make open shots, so you're right on that. I just thought their defense against UCLA was not what we had seen most.
So their variance is just not very big for me.
Right.
We're going to talk about Nebraska football later as it pertains to their gunslinging, interception throwing quarterback, and how big their variance is going to be this year. Nebraska basketball's variance is just not very much. Now, the thing to remember is if they go to the tournament, they can get beat just like anybody else. But we're going to know what you're sort of getting. Even in an NCAA tournament format, maybe they lose because they're not as good on whatever given night. But it has been a remarkable display of consistency through 31 games in the regular season for Nebraska basketball. You know exactly what you're getting. I don't think they're ceiling and I'm not talking about how far you go in the NCAA tournament. I'm talking about how good of a team you are. Their ceiling is like top 15, good, and their floor is not much lower than a top 25. That is pretty much what they are. And if that all equals out to be a Sweet 16 team at the end of the day, then that's sort of how it feels at this moment. It's possible, of course, that they lose, but to put that over 31 games, but especially since conference play has started. Remember, conference play started in early December. That's been them pretty much the entire time. And so credit to Nebraska for being able, their heartbeat is just, their resting heart rate is in the 50s, right? It's just boom, boom, boom. Now, it doesn't mean they can't get going.
Sure.
Because I think they do ride momentum, especially offensively at times, but they are pretty dang steady, and that should treat you well with this experienced team.
Yeah. And they could just do it in different ways. At one point yesterday, they had the graphic come up of Nebraska's sort of scoring tree, if you would, as to how they were getting to their points. And you've got 13 points from Sanford and 12 points from somebody else and 10 points from it's just right down the line. In a game where Sanford couldn't take over, because you've had those where he's put up his 32-point efforts and everybody else kind of fills in around it. You had this game yesterday where there was sort of the stretch where Mass was doing some things. He had some big outside shots. We saw his inside game where he kind of had the hook, I want to say, towards the end of the regulation, where it was nice to see that again. You had Sanford, who was, I think, flustered a little bit early because he wasn't getting the looks he wanted. And then he starts playing inside. He gets a couple layups that way. It opens up. He has a two threes in back-to-back possession sequence where it sort of felt like Nebraska was opening things up. We saw Berke have his moments where he's getting the ball inside. He's able to score. He loves getting hit He likes pump faking to get people to jump and then jump into him.
It's just so
Sometimes
large.
makes the
He's just kind of
burly. He's just like a burly.
He's
dude.
down there like you're like forced to run into.
Yeah.
him.
Well, he loves contact.
Yeah.
There's no question. Almost to a fault. So he had that. I mean, Lawrence hit 2 threes early, and then it wasn't consistent throughout, but he played a good game for stretches.
I thought Lawrence was better than he has been. He distributed well. Like I thought he was active with the ball. Like
his pass.
He didn't feel like just a fifth guy standing
Right.
out there in that game.
His pass to Frager on a wide open, uncontested layup underneath, where they got Iowa to bite so hard on the Sanford action. When Fox showed the angle from like the baseline view, and you could see Lawrence was selling the fake, looking just dead on at Sanford, passing no look a rifle right into Frager. Like that was beautiful.
Yeah,
and they had spent like that was setting up the counter to what Iowa is going to do, and you just wait and time it perfectly. That was beautiful.
Yep, because they were paying a lot of attention to Price Sanford yesterday. That's for sure. But you mentioned it, Schaefer. I mean, they can get their points from a variety of different places.
And then Kale at the very end.
And then there's Kale Jacobson. So 3 scores with 15 yesterday. Sanford amazingly was one of them. Hoiberg, and a career high from Kale Jacobson, who we'll talk about a little bit later as we go on throughout the show. And then we'll talk about as well where Nebraska sits in the lead up this weekend, and then looking ahead toward Selection Sunday. Joel writes in, I mentioned Nebraska football. Can we not talk about Nebraska football? I mean, we're going to talk about Nebraska football a little bit, but I every time Nebraska basketball. So I saw it again on Saturday. I saw Will Compton do a tweet about, he was like, how about that George Kittle or whatever? He was chiding George Kittle, an Iowa Hawkeye. He was like, how about this? And I just saw a bunch of responses that were like, hey, Will, shut up. Like, stay away from my basketball team, which I think is really funny. But also, I find it sort of interesting that people are like, this has nothing to do with football. Don't talk about football. Like, we don't need to make this the football wing, or the basketball wing of the football department, which I agree with completely. And it's oftentimes felt over the years that the basketball team has been the basketball arm of the football department. That is certainly not the case anymore. And people are more vocal about it these days, which I very much enjoy.
Rule was at the game on Sunday as well, and I saw some of the response to it was like comparing him to Ted Cruz would show up at events and the team would lose. And so it's like, oh no, is Rule going to be Nebraska's Ted Cruz?
He's the cooler.
Yeah, that's not how it played out. So I don't think that's an accurate summation of it. But yeah, people want to just enjoy the basketball team, which I get that. Like, it's also totally fine if Will Compton wants to enjoy the basketball team too. You don't have to
Will Compton.
You don't have to react to any of it. You don't have to engage with any of it. It could just sort of exist.
There is a certain ownership of Nebraska ball fans. Nebraska ball fans, like, if you are primarily a Nebraska ball fan, there are several who are just that. They don't they care about football, sure, but it's secondary. They are prioritizing Nebraska ball. And now, obviously, there is a lot of people who care quite deeply about Nebraska basketball because they are, on the run that they're on, or they've had now consistent, sustained success over a period of time, or, whatever. They've seen this is a relatively successful period of Nebraska basketball over, a decade or so, or whatever it might be, minus those really bad 3 Fred Hoiberg years. But there is a certain ownership, I think, that there are Nebraska ball people.
Oh, definitely.
And I think every once in a while you see that sort of bite back from them. It's like, hey man, I've been here the entire time. I've been sitting here, and where you been, or whatever it might be.
My response to that is like, don't you want a big tent? Like, I
would think so.
He kind of always strikes me as like the guy who wants to tell you that he knew this band when they were just a garage band.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Like, great. You were an early adopter, but don't you want, like, isn't part of it. You
Personally,
want them to be successful.
Personally,
and to have all of that.
Personally, I wouldn't care if I
yeah.
was like a Nebraska ball fan. At the same time, I do think you see like, there's more media coverage now, and people will say stuff. And they're like, "Yeah, have you watched many basketball games? Like, period, ever?"
I mean, I get this all the time, and it's not necessarily Nebraska basketball fans. It's apparently if you work in the football media or you have any relation to Nebraska at all, you've never watched college basketball before, which is a very common Creighton refrain that I will hear anytime I would talk about Creighton. Oh, Nebraska football guy. I'm sure you've watched a lot of college basketball. No, actually, I mean, I have. Like,
you're a Nebraska ball guy, though.
Yeah,
like,
no, I am.
There is some truth to that.
They don't know that if they only know me as, oh, that's
Right.
the recruiting guy.
Yeah.
Or that guy mostly talks about Nebraska football all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm used to this weird mischaracterization that, one, I don't know the sport.
It's a mischaracterization for you. I don't know that it's a mischaracterization for everybody.
There's definitely people who don't spend a lot of time over in Pinnacle Bank Arena that have found their way to it.
That's right.
But I also just sort of view that as a natural extension of they're good. This is what happens, especially when Nebraska, any athletic program that is good, there's more softball people than ever.
I think for the most part, it's an open arms thing.
Well, it should be. I think it should be.
For the most part, it's an open arms thing. But you see that every once in a while. Like when Nebraska wins their NCAA tournament game in a couple of weeks, like, those people should just internally enjoy it more instead of saying, I enjoy it more than you do. Where have you been this entire time?
Not a competition.
I just one more thing on this. I've seen a lot more like Nebraska ball like content and flipping through or whatever TikTok or whatever. And it's like, name your favorite Nebraska ball player. I'll go first. And it's like it's somebody who played 4 years ago or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, interesting. 4 years ago.
I mean, there's definitely, if they're on TikTok, wouldn't that make
it's
more
all
sense?
children. It's all children. I'm like, come on, I even know more Nebraska basketball players than the guys who were here, for in Hanif Cheatham's era. Although Hanif Cheatham is a pretty good pull, I got it.
It is a good pull. You could have went him, Beefy Stevenson, Latman, that whole group.
Let's take a break. I want your guys' thoughts on any of that. 402-951-1620. And don't forget, the Zone Twitter feed is now powered by Liquid Trucking. Hit up Happenschafe at Happenschafe on Twitter or at Connor Happer at Mike J. Schaefer. We'll take a break and be back with more after this on 1620 The Zone. But first, a word from our friends at Underdog Fantasy, where fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. You can make picks and win money right now in Nebraska. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. You get those picks right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Imagine that. And I'm sure our friend Joey over here will be thinking about some picks that he is going to put together, higher or lower, for his beloved Boston Celtics. You could do that or anything else on the board nightly in basketball. Download the app today and use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code HAPPER1620. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-MY-RESET or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, we got a bunch of online contests going on 1620thezone.com right now. In fact, there's 6 of them, all concerts coming up in the next several months. So please feel free to check it out, 1620thezone.com. Journey is one of them. That's just a little taste. Or if you're into the Black Keys, that's another one of them. So check it out, 1620thezone.com. We are trying to get you into concerts. Let's go to the comments, ladies and gentlemen. What could go wrong? G-Fred writes in on YouTube. Jasker over here thinks we shouldn't gatekeep. Yeah, I guess it's just like how I am as a person. I don't know. I was saying the same thing in when all of Omaha and Lincoln or whatever became Royals fans in 2015, and then again Cubs fans in 2016. I'm like, that's just what happens. Much like you, Schaefer. It's just a product of what happens when you win. More people are on board, more people pay attention.
When something gets
unfortunately
popular,
for the people who have been there for the entire time and they watch games when they suck, which is, congratulations, but you don't get any reward for it more than the people who just joined, except for internal gratitude, internal gratefulness, which there's no like trophy for it.
yeah,
There's no medal. I wish there were. Like they should. Fred Hoiberg should go around and give out medals for people who have been fans of Nebraska ball for 25 plus years.
If there's like new basketball fans that exist solely because they discovered that Nebraska basketball has more than just Creighton playing basketball at a reasonably high level in the middle of, the winter, that's a good thing. I only regard that as a good thing. And it doesn't have to only happen if you had to sit through like 20 years of not going to the NCAA tournament.
It's just very natural.
As I did.
Yeah,
So,
it's just natural. This is the way it goes. This is the way it moves. Then teams get better and they get worse, and fans migrate one way and they migrate the other. So maybe that's just my worldview on things, but no, I'm not much of a fandom gatekeeper. I'm sorry. Maybe that is the reason the Jaskerness comes up or whatever it is. Maybe that's why that is allowed to happen.
I would assume it's the Jays part of it that
I tend to think that I just grew up being a Creighton fan and wanted to enjoy college football, so I went to the nearest team, and that was the team down the road. Let's see. Oh, J-Man says 1620 the bandwagon begins. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all going to stay exactly the same as we are.
I don't really know that there's much difference that I can bring to this I have previously.
I don't think John or myself will all of a sudden begin this huge migration into becoming big red honks.
We welcome it.
I'm staying put. I think I'm staying put.
We can start by getting you to stop being Big East honks.
I do love the Big East.
Yeah.
What a conference.
Yeah, what a conference indeed.
Honk, honk. You see all those things that had to happen in order for Creighton to get the 5, and it happened. All of it.
You know what else happened?
There's also a bracket.
UConn lost to another team with a losing record.
I know. You love saying this.
Honk, honk.
Honk, 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 honk. I still believe in UConn. I'm going to continue to believe in UConn. And
all the way to their round of 32 exit.
That's what I was just going to say. Schaefer, you're going to pick them to lose in the second round, and I'm going to say, they're going to win.
Alex Caravan is definitely going to score points in this game.
Now, you will never find me saying that. Alex Caravan has been a very below average player for a long time.
It's hard to trust him.
Hall of Fame.
I know. That's not my responsibility.
No,
they wouldn't put him in the Big East Hall of Fame.
It's insane.
He's just been around for a long time. That's for sure. J-Man follows up. He says, put Joey down for holding steady during March and all other madness. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Joey's not going anywhere. Ron says, why are you so bitter, Connor? I've had season tickets since 1976 and live in Omaha. Don't preach to me about who knows Husker basketball and who doesn't. Ron, I'm sorry. I just don't think you were listening. So, not preaching. I think it's, I said, everyone welcome.
Everyone in the tent.
Maybe I'm not the right person to be hearing the message from, because it feels like whenever I talk these days, people hear exactly the opposite thing of what I'm saying.
It is quite remarkable having a front row seat to it.
Here's Connor Happer. He's saying all season long, Nebraska basketball is really, really good. Watch out for these guys. They come listen to the show and they say, do you hear this guy at 1620 The Zone? He hates them and thinks they suck. It's so weird. Johnny Pig writes in on YouTube. I've been a Lions fan since the early 80s. Last few years, I've seen way more Lions fans out in the wild, and I love every bit of it. There is always room on the bandwagon, and I'll even drive. Life is more fun when you're celebrating. Enjoy the ride. Take all comers. Big parties are always more fun. I tend to agree, Johnny Pig. That is a nice, healthy way to look at things. But I know sometimes it is not the way that things get looked at. Anyway, Nebraska basketball, 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. So once again, they'll take on the winner of Penn State, Northwestern, where the winner. So, okay, you got Northwestern in that game. That winner gets Indiana.
I'll take Indiana.
Okay. That winner gets Purdue.
I'll take Purdue.
And Purdue gets Nebraska.
I'll take Nebraska.
Okay. Wow. Nebraska, you're just auto buying them to the Big Ten semifinal. Amazing.
Give me chalk.
I didn't even really realize. I should have grabbed the picture to put up on the YouTube. So the top 2 seeds have an extra game that plays into their wing of the bracket.
Yep.
So really they get technically another bye. It really is a super mega bye. It's incredibly ridiculous. As we've mentioned before.
I love it.
You love it?
Well, why
you love
I?
the fact that the conference is gigantic and monstrous?
It doesn't really bother me that much. I mean,
that's the thing. I probably need to get over it. It bothers me on a daily basis. I don't have like the
desire. Like I don't have to have a home and home with every one of these teams. Like I know you've talked about that in the past with like you love that Creighton has. There are 11 teams in the Big East,
the true
play
round
everybody.
Robin. Yeah,
you know, and you don't want that cut into to appease Dan Hurley and whatever it is that he wants.
He wants to play less conference games,
and so reason. I don't really have any like complaints that Nebraska's double dips were Iowa, Illinois, and Northwestern, and that they didn't get an extra game against Maryland, Michigan, or whoever else.
I mean, when you introduce that, it's the same thing has happened in football. You get schedule imbalance, and we do not like schedule imbalance. We are a conspiracy theorist society, and oftentimes when schedule imbalance pops up, all of a sudden it's like, well, they hate us.
I got the bracket if you want me to pull it up. You can stream.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, put it up on there.
I just don't have I don't think there's an easy solution to this. Your conference only exists this way because of football. So I think they're making the best of it for what it is. So
there it is.
Part of it
is,
watching along there's not.
Look at all those teams. Look at all those rounds.
Yeah, I'd rather this than Nebraska not making the conference tournament like last year because they were on the wrong side of a tiebreaker situation.
Regardless, like I said before, regardless of if or not Nebraska makes it or doesn't make it, like I believe that all teams should make conference tournaments. Yeah. Like if you are going to have a conference tournament, you have to have everyone in it. Point blank, period. The problem is the conference is too damn big.
Sure.
You can't do an 18. You shouldn't do an 18-team Big Ten tournament, and you certainly shouldn't do it like in baseball, like an 18-team Big Ten. I guess it'd be 17 in baseball. You definitely shouldn't do anything like that. So my problem immediately flushes back to something that I constantly talk about and I can't get over, and I think about it on a daily basis, is that the damn conferences are too damn big.
And so just acknowledging that isn't going to change.
It's not changing, and I'm just old man yelling at clouds.
So a lot of it for me is like, okay, if this is the best of what they can do, fine. I also, I don't have any problem that the way that this has to probably be structured is with all these buys. But if we're talking about a different conference tournament, I don't have a problem rewarding teams that played really well in the regular season by pushing them up further to where they're not going to get knocked off.
WCC, the top seeds play tonight for the first time.
Yeah.
In Gonzaga and
in the semifinals, basically.
And
right?
St. Mary's. And the other teams have been playing for a week.
Yep. And so it puts a lot of emphasis if you're Santa Clara that you want to get that second spot behind Gonzaga if they're going to be the one, because that way you have one less game.
It definitely, it absolutely protects them. So there's no doubt about that. But we're talking about we're talking about a high major conference with 10 bids, like 8 to 10 bids. The Big Ten doesn't need it,
No,
they don't need to protect their top seeds because we
structure-wise,
all
like-
agree that what happens in the conference tournament doesn't actually matter for non-bubble teams.
And so then you get into the real conversation of what's the point of the conference tournament anymore.
Yeah. Which is
And
sad because
so-
I do like the conference
I do
tournament.
too, and I don't want them to go away because I think this week in particular gets underrated when you talk about how much fun this month is.
I agree.
Like everything is focused on the first 4 days of the NCAA tournament usually, and then it's kind of a dip. I think like that's the apex, and then it kind of goes down, and then there's a bounce again at the Final Four. So that's all very true, and there's a lot of. But man, I have so many memories of just like throwing random games on and getting into random teams just because. Austin P is on a run, and I decided
because it's on. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon. You're like, oh, we got the SoCon final,
and there's usually like fun drama with it. Like that's the other thing is you'll get a close and late game between two teams that you've never watched before, and you feel compelled to just watch it.
Did you see what happened to Navy yesterday?
No,
yes.
I didn't.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
That was
so
amazing.
Navy, who has been an NCAA tournament projected team all year long, the 1 seed in the Patriot League, tied the game at 70 with like 4 seconds left, and then lost on a buzzer beater to Boston University.
Oh wow!
So not only are they not going to the NCAA tournament, they're probably not even going to the NIT. Like they lost in the conference semifinal. So that's life. We're the one bid leagues, that's for sure. Challenging.
If any school really needed a distraction, it might be Navy.
It might be Navy. Let's take a phone call on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Here's Scott. Scott, good morning. Thanks for calling. What's up?
Gentlemen, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I got a bone to pick with Connor Onion.
Whoa.
That guy is a complete idiot.
No, he's not.
He is an absolute. Yeah, absolutely, he is. And here, I can lay it out for you. Who was the ranked team yesterday? Nebraska, Iowa.
I believe it was Nebraska.
I believe you're correct. Who has the better record? Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Who has the higher standing in the conference? Nebraska. Who is the better team in the second half? Nebraska. Who is up 4 at halftime? Nebraska. And Connor Onion leads into the halftime break with Iowa eyeing a 2-game sweep of Nebraska, the season sweep. That guy is a complete moron.
Okay. Scott, don't you think you may be nitpicking a little bit here?
No, I listened to the whole game. They basically Connor Onion and that hack Nick Baugh were cheering for Iowa the entire game.
Wow.
That's all I got, gentlemen.
Wow. Thank you, Scott. Unbelievable. Or no, thank you, Scott. Those are horrible takes on two very good announcers.
That is a very strong Connor Onion take.
Yeah. This is a pro Connor Onion show. I don't know if you knew that, but this is a pro Connor Onion show.
I don't really have any like super strong opinion on Connor Onion,
And
but I didn't like think yesterday's broadcast was like slanted in any direction, really.
Definitely not.
So
Definitely not. And
and-
this is all the way definitely a pro Nick Baugh show.
I don't want this to be an anti-Scott show. I mean, look, people.
Well, I just think Scott had unfortunately 2 very bad takes all wrapped up into one in that call. So you win some, you lose some. I guess.
Yeah, I just if they're going to mention that they beat Nebraska earlier in the year and that the 2 wins would be a season sweep, there's really not like
it's kind of just a fact, isn't it?
It was a very Sam Hoiberg loved show. We'll put it that way. Like he was pretty much the star of that thing all the way through.
Oh yeah.
With some questions about can Bennett Sturt still continue to run?
Yeah,
that was a storyline throughout.
He
that.
sat out for 3 minutes in the last month or something like that. It's sort of absurd.
He looks.
They got the.
He looks pretty run. I'm not gonna lie. Like he looks kind of run down. The end of Michigan.
He's the only guy on that
like
team.
He had Jello for legs.
He's the only guy on that team. It's amazing what they've done.
It's impressive that they win games sometimes.
I know.
Because
I said before it's a Missouri Valley roster, and everyone looks at me and is like, "Are you sure about that? They're pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah, well, look, watch closely."
You can call this massive homerism if you want. I'm fine with that. Outside of Sturts, I don't think there's a guy I would take over Nebraska's top 7.
No,
like, not even
that's
close.
not crazy.
Like I don't.
That's not crazy.
Like
I mean, there's guys that you would take on your team to be role players. Like Koch is an excellent
over any of Nebraska's 7 outside of Sturt.
Like Koch will be a really good player, and he's an excellent shooter, and he killed Nebraska yesterday. But yeah, right. You that is not a great roster.
Right.
And Ben McCollum is doing an excellent job.
I'm
It's not like he's had great
I'm impressed
rosters
by
at
it.
Northwest Missouri State and Drake either. But he has always had Bennett Sturts over the last couple of years.
It'll be interesting what they can recruit at, and who and how they recruit, because they were one of the schools that
I think they'll be pretty good.
they were putting pretty low amount of NIL money in their basketball program. Like
Correct.
that was the big
But that was
thing.
one of the things, when McCollum came along, you're like, yeah, new investment, blah, blah, blah. Anytime anyone gets a new coach, they say, we're going to reinvest into the program. I think they'll be pretty solid under him. And he's famously very good at working with less. And
I
he's
think they're
going to
gonna
have
be-
less no matter what.
Yeah, and so that's how that works in a conference like this. Like you can have your system and you can have guys that play to it well, but ultimately, is it going to be? Can you do that enough? Can you defend? Can you slow it down? Can your tempo be enough for you to win? We'll find out.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with the headlines after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Let's hit the headlines. What do we have set up today?
Okay, the first headline is man accused of using taco seasoning packets to steal $40,000 from Target. $40,000.
Okay, interesting.
I am interested.
Me too. What's headline 2?
Yep.
Ontario man accused of chasing flamingos, taking one to Las Vegas hotel room.
Okay, I'm interested in both. We'll have to put our heads together on this one, actually.
Yeah, I didn't think the second one was the way it started, I was like, all right, I think we're leaning to the first.
Okay.
And then, the way it finished, I wasn't sure.
I'm always interested in what hotel in Vegas they took they're
Sure.
doing any of this at.
They have a it's at the Flamingo Hotel.
And so he's taking the
He
flamingos.
stole the flamingos and took them to the flamingo, and they're fake flamingos or they're real flamingos?
They're real flamingos. They're real birds.
Okay. I think I'm
Do
going
we just default to the Vegas story because it's Vegas?
No, we can do the taco packets.
It's up to you.
All right, let's do taco packets.
Perfect.
I think we get the majority of the story there. A Florida man is facing retail theft charges after local authorities allege that he stole thousands of dollars worth of trading cards from multiple Target stores using 99-cent seasoning packets. According to a statement from Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer's office on February 26th, Keith Wallace, 39, was arrested after he allegedly engaged in an organized retail fraud scheme at multiple Target locations from Miami to Orlando. Wallace has been charged with counts of felony organized retail theft and then a variety of other accounts. He's accused of committing 75 thefts at multiple Target locations across Florida throughout the last year. Investigators believe that in each theft, Wallace would grab large boxes of trading cards and an equal number of 99-cent taco seasoning packs. Then, once at the self-checkout line, Wallace is alleged to have only paid for the seasoning packets. Authorities said that Wallace would resell the stolen trading cards on eBay, generating nearly $40,000 in revenue. Wallace's alleged thefts resulted in a loss of over $10,000, according to the Attorney General's office. Okay. Now, this is a move. Self-checkout coming back to bite these corporations now.
So how does this work? Like he's only scanning the seasoning packets and then he's able to hide it some way that he has these other.
Well, maybe it's like a way, because when you check out the stuff at the self-checkout, you have to put it says like put it in the bag, put
Right.
it in the bag, put it. Maybe he puts the taco seasonings in the quote unquote bagging area.
Sure.
And then or he does the opposite. He puts the trading
cards
cards
in
there
there
and doesn't
instead.
scan them. You know,
But if he's doing
I don't
boxes
understand.
of cards, you would think it'd be on the video camera the entire time of what he's doing.
You would think so, and maybe that's how they cut. There's another bug, by the way. I have tended to notice that the people who run the self-checkout lanes, who are in charge of overseeing them, I don't think they really.
They're not locked in.
I
Is
know.
that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I don't think they're locked in. I'm
I
not
think that's fair.
not trying to be too generic here, speaking in generalities, obviously, but in my experience, that has been the case. They have not been particularly locked in. So there's a way where this can happen. Now, to go further, authorities suspect that Wallace committed additional thefts at Walmart and Publix locations across Florida.
Wow.
This arrest sends a clear message that organized retail theft, no matter how coordinated or far-reaching, will be aggressively investigated and prosecuted, according to the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department. He faces up to 90 years in prison if convicted
My
on
goodness.
all counts.
I
I
don't
really fail to see how this was quote unquote organized, but maybe we're lacking some details.
I don't think it mentioned like what type of trading cards that he took.
It's got to be some Pokemon, right?
I would assume Pokemon because I've been seeing videos of people just snagging a lot of those just to sell on their
Resell.
resell, upcharging a bunch of cards.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
the story I'm looking at, they have a line at the bottom that says a Capital One shopping report found that retailers in Florida lost $5.421 billion in revenue to theft in 2022.
No kidding.
That
Just
is
in-
an insane amount of money.
Just in Florida?
in 1 year? I don't know. It's just tacked in here at the end of this story.
Yeah,
so
that feels that feels inflated.
Yeah, we'll see if there's some accuracy here for Newslink, but I mean, theft is obviously a very real thing.
Theft is bad, Mike Schaefer.
Don't steal.
But 5.421 billion.
I guess there's a lot of stores in
There
Florida.
are a lot of stores. There's a lot of people. Very populous state.
We have a lot of people in the United States of America, but specifically,
And they
in
want
Florida.
trading cards and not tacos.
They want to steal, and they don't care about the tacos.
But I'll be making tacos tonight.
Awesome. Maybe you could get some taco seasoning.
What taco seasoning do you use, Joey?
I don't remember. I just got the cheapest one at the store.
Oh, you get the regular old what's the taco
Mission?
Yeah, Mission
Old-
brand.
Or Pace?
Pace is one of them as well.
We do Taco Bell seasoning. It's fantastic.
Yeah, those aren't bad.
I've
had
been
those
doing that
before.
for well more than a decade.
I haven't had the taco seasoning I haven't done that in a long. I haven't made white people tacos in a long time.
Oh man.
Yeah, I probably need to get back on my white people taco night grind. Maybe
Absolutely.
I'll do that soon. All right, we'll take a break. 8:00 hour coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, don't forget to get your nominations in for the Omaha Food Fight presented by Union Bank and Trust. Omaha Food Fight bracket will be out next week. We need your nominations still this week. In fact, before Thursday night, send in your favorite restaurant nominations from around town. We will compile the list. We will place them in a bracket via the KenPom of Omaha Food, Omaha restaurants. We have our proprietary analytical formula to rank them, and then we will bracket you next Monday or Sunday when the brackets come out. It's Selection Sunday for the Omaha Food Fight as well, presented by Union Bank and Trust. Someone, Joel mentioned earlier, why would we talk about football?
Football.
There we go. There's Mike Schaefer. Why? Because, like it or not, there are some interesting things. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this Anthony Calandria guy. I'm trying to figure him out. I'm trying to figure out what he's going to bring to the table. I'm trying to figure out how they're going to build an offense around him. And so what you're about to hear is a few clips from Nebraska football offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen on Anthony Calandria and his style and a variety of different things. So let's start here. It's also good to hear this sort of confirmed, right? That's one thing positive about getting an experienced quarterback. As Nebraska got in the transfer portal this offseason, they got an experienced quarterback. You know who he is. You kind of know what you're getting. And there's I guess there's a jump in levels here where you're going from the group of five to the power five, but he's played power five football before. And you pretty much know in general what you're getting. Now it's about Nebraska putting the pieces around him to be able to have a successful offense. So how does that sit with Nebraska offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen? He says he has never had a quarterback like this. Here he is.
I was talking with Roll out there kind of mid-scrimmage, and I was like, he does some things I've never had. I've never had that mobile of a quarterback. You know, probably the most mobile one that I had was Skylar Howard. Had him for like 2 years. Just he was a runaround guy, threw a good deep ball. I've never coached like extending plays like I'm coaching right now, just because he has a really unreal, and TJ's an athletic guy too, but he has a good understanding of off-schedule stuff, of keeping the play alive. And I tell you, that's really resonated with the wideouts and the running backs and the tight ends. We weren't very good at extending plays and off-schedule stuff last year, and so receivers got really lazy on, once the play breaks down, they got real lazy on what they were doing. And so that's been a big area of focus. We work scramble drill a lot, but man, I'm encouraging those guys to extend the play and make things happen. That used to really piss me off when guys would extend plays. I'm like, you're never going to do that in a game. I mean, you're just not mobile enough to actually do that. You got to get the ball. I had to coach those guys different. Like, get the ball out, get the ball out, get the ball out. And now I'm like, if first read ain't there, just run. And we're doing a lot of, not necessarily true quarterback run game. We will, especially when we get into some red zone stuff. But, just the ability to be able to extend the play just on drop back pass, and receivers understanding I better get to those spots, and so I'm really coaching that hard, and we're working on it. And that's been something that I've had to kind of adjust my thinking on.
What a fascinating conversation that we're embarking on here. Here you have an offensive coordinator who, I realize his offense has evolved and changed over the years, but mostly he is known as being a system offensive coordinator. System means there are parameters, there are rules, there are principles, there are
if this, do this.
There are quick reads, there are things like that. And I think for the most part, a lot of that is carried over with Dana Holgorsen in his post-air raid era, right? Like we saw immediately when Holgorsen took over as Nebraska's offensive coordinator in the USC game 2 years ago, like how much faster it got, like seemingly immediately for Dylan Raiola. It's about structure and it's about parameters. And then you have the quarterback, who is exactly the opposite. He thrives when there are less parameters. He is being now encouraged by the offensive coordinator, who has created these walls throughout his career, to tear down those walls. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down those walls. And that's exactly what's happening, it feels like, with Anthony Calandria.
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of a fascinating marriage between the play caller and a player whose best asset might be a free flow to the play at hand rather than the actual call play. Now,
I think so.
We're saying this because they are saying it. We don't have a lot of evidence of him doing this against Big Ten teams, or even really not to a ton of success against ACC teams, but he did have a lot of success Mountain West, whether it was on or off schedule. And I think, as you've sort of
that'll carry.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as you've kind of alluded to, Nebraska might just simply need more of that with how stuffy and confined everything felt a year ago. Even in an offense where you had an All-American running back, everything felt 3 times harder than it needed to be because there was no creativity or explosion or ability to move off of. If something wasn't there immediately, it just felt like the whole thing was derailed for Nebraska. Here, if it's not there immediately, it's like, well, there could be a chance for a 40-yard play downfield that was not expected.
That might be Nebraska's best choice.
Could be at times,
more times than not, or something like it's. I mean, I know we've said it a million times, but that combo, can Dana Holgorsen create some sort of a structure or lack of structure, whatever you want to call it, that works for Anthony Calandria, and that works for the rest of Nebraska's offense. And one thing I do buy that Dana said there is the wide receiver thing that he mentioned. Is last year, plays break down, wide receivers just quit on him. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. Wide receivers just quit on him. And they got a little bit lazy, according to Holgorsen. They're going to go into this season knowing that those types of plays are still alive. And not that the whole season hinges on those type of plays. Still, most of the things that you're going to be doing is going to be on track and on schedule, and the throws need to be made and all that stuff. But those plays can make or break a game, and therefore can make or break a season. And if they go poorly, it's the break side. If they're good, maybe you got a chance to jump up and beat somebody.
Yeah. And I mean, those are the type of plays that can create explosion and find points for you that wouldn't be there on a drive that stalls out. Because on 3rd and 2 and you dial up a pass play and the blitz comes, you've got a quarterback that can extend that out to his side and get the ball down the field and beat the blitz, versus just having to eat the sack, or on the rare occasions throw it away, or just hope that the look is all right there, that the process allows for the immediate first read.
Mostly eat the sack last year.
A lot of eating sacks.
A lot of eating.
So,
yikes.
Right, but that's basically what it was. It should, this is where we should see more from Isaiah Hunter or Ja'Cory Barney or Quasi Gilmer, whoever.
So
it should be there.
This will be, I can't wait to get your reaction on this. Who is a comp to what you've seen from Anthony Calandria so far? That question was asked to Dana Holgorsen on Saturday, and here is what he said.
It's just been, Coach Real did this practice 2. He showed Diego, the Vanderbilt quarterback. Okay? He showed a lot of his plays, and a lot of his plays were off-schedule plays. And I'm telling you, it looked as good as I've ever seen, just as far as him extending the play and receivers accelerating to open spots. That was impressive, man. And so he showed the team that, and we go out there and we start working it. And so I think it's starting to click, and it's starting to make sense on what they need to do, but more importantly, how fast they have to do it. They know who's back there, and that gives their guys hope. That's where most of your big plays happen. For guys running over route and the quarterback goes that way, the importance of spinning out of that thing and accelerating the route. I mean, if you don't do it like that, you're never going to get to that spot, and you're never going to get that ball, and you're never going to make that play. And so it just starts with hope that the quarterback's going to do that. And so they see him running around back there making plays. It kind of gets those guys fired up because it's a chance of an explosive play, And so just the element of the hope aspect of it is going to get those guys to the spots where they need to be.
Hope can be a dangerous
I'll get fired
thing.
up about it.
Thank you, Dana. One more word from Dana. I'm getting fired up about it right now. Diego Pavia.
Look, if he plays like Diego Pavia, it's a big win for Nebraska.
I guess. So if he acts like Diego Pavia.
Maybe not so much that. Just the on-field would be better.
Are you okay?
I don't know what's happening with my voice right now. Like, I can't clear my throat at all.
You're powering through it, I think.
Trying
to.
It's been a fun first few months with this show where it's like, I don't know what my voice is doing at any point in time. Didn't wake up like this, but here we are.
Yeah, the Diego Pavia thing is really interesting just because I just don't feel like, I mean, obviously he repeated it, right? He was that throughout his career. He was a crazy, variance player. But I don't look at that and say, oh yeah, this could be the formula for me. Not that he's the first quarterback to ever be, kind of, you didn't know what was going to happen from snap to snap. We've seen many of those over the years, but the consistency at which it worked out well for him was pretty astounding. And then you think about the apparatus that Pavia has put into. I mean, Vanderbilt is a program, and it's in a similar spot as Nebraska is, just trying to kind of make its way up the ladder of middling teams who are trying to find their way up. And it gave Vanderbilt a spark. I mean, Pavia was a big part of it, whether you like him or not. So I just don't. It's actually a pretty decent comp situation wise and quarterback wise. But can you depend on the same result? I don't see. That's the question. And some of that is just going to depend on luck and whether or not things go their way or not.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, like his first year at Vanderbilt, he threw for 2,200 yards, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, ran for another 800, all of which is good. It's just that I don't think that version of, they went 6-6, their offense was fine. I don't know that you're getting senior year, extended senior year Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt, what you got in 2025 right off the bat with Calandria. Like, I think there's going to be a bit of a learning curve.
Probably.
Yeah, he's a 59% completion passing quarterback. I think the second year in the system really allowed him to explode and be a much better player. But if you're getting even just those numbers from first year Calandria, that's helpful for the offense. I mean, I don't know. I think what he is as a runner fascinates me as much as anything else because of how that can kind of, extending the plays on third down. If he's just able to run and pick you up a first down here or there to extend drives, if you can get a 20-yard run that gets you to flip the field, if he can be a threat in the red zone, all of those can take you from a team that scores 22 points on average against Power 4 competition to, maybe you are averaging 4 touchdowns a game.
So the big question when you get to a player, as we've been talking about Calandria, we've been sort of going through it for the last couple of weeks here. The word that I keep using is variance, right? We've talked about the explosiveness that he might bring to the table. Explosiveness works on both sides. Explosiveness works in the good way. Explosiveness can work in the bad way as well. So one thing that has shown up in Calandria's past is the old oopsies. He has made some mind-boggling decisions at times, all out of it's born from a place of I'm confident enough where I think I can make this play. And that's okay. They're not, they look like dumb decisions because of the result of them, but then we see him make a play like that and you're like, oh, wow. So it'll be fascinating. People asked him last week, media asked him last week, how do you change your style at all? You come to the Big Ten, the players are a little bit bigger and faster. He's like, no, not really. And so we'll see what the, the sort of
kind of a tough question to answer in March.
What the transition is as far as that's concerned. But the thing that I've been worried about is the interceptions and the dumb decisions that have been in his past. Dana Holgerson is asked, have you seen any of that pop up in practice so far? Here's Nebraska's offensive coordinator.
With a guy like that, are you seeing like really dumb turnovers come off that too, or like?
No, I haven't seen that. I have not seen that. He's doing a really good job of taking care of the ball. We put the ball on the ground one time today in about 150 plays. That's by a running back. Unacceptable. But he's really doing a good job of extending things and taking care of the ball. That's a big emphasis on his part. Just based on what's happened in the past.
All right, there's Dana Holgerson. It's all the good and no bad so far for Anthony Calandria. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Famously, Nebraska's defense did not take the ball away much during the regular season either last year.
That's true.
So, is it this or is it that?
Kind of interesting.
That's always part of the spring conversation to me is like, yeah, he's not facing a defense forcing turnovers. Is that him or is that the defense?
But by the way, whatever that is, whether it's the defense not getting turnovers or Dana just lying, which is possible. I'm sure there's been some mistakes that have happened in practice. We do now have this drop forever.
No, I haven't seen that.
No, I haven't seen that. I especially like the part, Joe, you cut it out, but I especially like the part where he says, nope, haven't seen that. So maybe if we can go back.
I kind of like that. I'm getting fired up right now.
Yeah, I'm fired up right now. I'm getting kind of fired up right now. That was like a minute and a half of just talking about dudes extending plays. He was like, yeah, I'm kind of liking this right now. So in theory, it invigorates Dana Holgerson a little bit. And like Nebraska fans watching the offense over the last couple of years, it's been like, oh, this is so heavy and boring.
Yeah, like here's hoping it leads to this creativity and they have this free-flowing offense that can put up points. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like, can they find a way to put up points? That's his job. And coming up with the set of plays or whatever that allows you to attack a defense best with what Calandria does. And if it's simply finding ways to get off schedule, they're going to have to do that.
This will be the biggest spread, I think, of like, well, this is probably a April, May, like post basketball season when we start really honing in on this stuff. We're talking about wins and losses. As I'm thinking about it right now, this will be a very, very large spread in terms of most games they could win and least games they could win. For me, it's going to be large.
Like,
of course I could see it falling right in the middle at 6-6, but I'm,
to 4 and 8.
This has, I think, lower than 4. This has blow up potential, and this has jump up potential.
Okay.
You don't think it has much jump up potential?
I don't think it has as much blow up potential.
Oh, really?
That's I think it has a pretty high floor.
Interesting.
I think Nebraska has
with
a high
Mr.
floor.
Interception at quarterback.
I'm talking like wins, like total wins.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm that's what I'm factoring into it.
I think they have a pretty high floor. It starts with I don't see them losing any of their first 3 games, so you start right there. So you're 3-0, and from that point
you
forward,
said at beginning of the year, it takes a little time to adjust.
Sure.
Whatever. I'm just making a case.
No, I mean, this is as light as of a 3-game start.
Oh, they're bad.
There's
no doubt.
So some of it is just taking what's on the schedule. From there, it's a matter of it's hard for me to see it being only getting 1 or 2 wins the rest of the way. So, we'll see. Like it doesn't mean that they're going to come out and be all world or any of this. I just think there's enough there on that team that's returned. They'll have enough returning players. They'll have made enough decisions that it's a relatively
I completely believe that they're better on they'll get better on defense, and they return a lot, which is obviously a gigantic positive, and people aren't talking about that enough. But I just think this quarterback thing is a giant wild card. And luckily they have some good pieces all around him on the offensive line. We know nothing about the run game, except for what Calandria adds to it himself. And they have pretty decent receivers. And so if you're tossing the ball in the air around all the time with a guy who has that part of, that's his game, I don't know. That's a risky deal. That could tank you. And I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying you have to include it in the possibilities, or at least I do. I include it in the possibility.
Yeah, I just don't see him losing more
There's
than
just going to be a lot on him.
or like losing more than 4. I don't see him having less than 4 wins. Like I just don't even think that's a possibility.
Yeah, 4 is one of the. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's lower, but ever so slightly. Maybe the bottom is 4. We're haggling over 3 and 4 at this point, but like you get the point. It's a big variance. It could be a complete disaster, in my opinion. And we're not talking about that enough.
I think even if he's just bad, they can go to TJ Lateef and they still have a floor raised, boring team that can win a couple.
Now that's probably true.
So it's not to me, and this is maybe where we differ a little bit. I don't think it's Anthony Calandria or bust. So like if he sucks, they can move on from that. They have a better chance of doing that than they could if Dylan was outright horrible last year or the year before that. So to me, at least you have this element where if it's not working, you can try someone else and you at least have a little idea of what TJ Lateef is, or if you wanted to go the Daniel Kalen route.
Yeah.
So I think there's that as well. Like if he's out there just Jeff Simmon it, if that's what we want to call it, you can move on quickly.
And they did, and it didn't necessarily work out a whole lot better, although Harburg he won some games in there.
Yeah, I mean, they basically finished at 5-7 and found unique and exciting ways to not get to 6 wins the last 4 games of the year.
Tater Salad writes in on YouTube, why is Dana talking like Calandria is the starter? Well, Tater Salad, I think it's because he is.
It does seem that way.
I think it might be because he is. If we want to listen to the song and dance about they're not even dancing around it. Like nobody over there is like, hey, we got a quarterback competition. No. If you guys want to believe that, I don't know what corner of the internet people are spending their time on these days. There's Anthony Calandria is the starting quarterback. Like they talk like it, they act like it, they say it out loud, and some people just don't believe it. I don't know if they're T-fees. I don't know if they're like Daniel Kalen guys. I don't know if they're like, oh, the room is so good. I love competition. Yeah, competition's great. Calandria is a starter. Sorry. We'll take a break.
I don't know why you're apologizing.
I just, people need to hear it, I think. Tim Verghese is coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska. Tim, good morning. Thanks for joining. What's going on?
Hey, good morning. How we doing, guys?
Good. How was your weekend?
Hey, it was busy. Maybe not as busy as initially expected. Had a few flight cancellations, but definitely a busy weekend. Just first really big visit weekend of this spring recruiting window.
It's always busy when you're Tim Verghese. You got stuff going on literally all the time. Before we get into recruiting, which you're on top of all weekend, I wanted you to chime in on the quarterback conversation we were just having. Any like the comp came up of Diego Pavia over the weekend, which I thought was sort of fascinating for Anthony Calandria. How do you view him in the scope of what Nebraska is trying to accomplish and the apparatus around him on offense?
Yeah, I think the Pavia comp's interesting because I think that's now that's the like not the standard necessarily, but that's like the goal for some of these quarterbacks that are, like around this frame and making the jump up. Or back for in Calandria's case, back up from the Group of 5 level up to the Power 4 level, and it really is just like, okay, well, look, if Pavia can do it, well, maybe there's a chance for some of these guys, and I think it's something to work for. I think more interestingly from that conversation was the emphasis on the receivers, because that is something, for this coaching staff. I was going to be very curious to see how long it took this staff to start drilling scramble drill, because it's something Calandria is really good at, but it's something where your receivers need to be on the same page and all that. So I think it's encouraging to hear that they're drilling that already, that Dana's recognized that as a strength of Calandria's game, and recognizing that he's got to change his own kind of thought process about creating on the run and processing and all of that because of Calandria's specific skill set. So he changes the dynamic overall in terms of what Nebraska wants to do offensively, in that he is like truly not like a quarterback that Dana Holgerson has had, and really not like a quarterback Nebraska's had in a couple years. Now he'll remind people of quarterbacks Nebraska's had, recently, but in terms of like, the short area movement skills and the ability to create when things break down, Nebraska really hasn't had this kind of creative of a quarterback in a couple of years.
Tim, airports were a mess all over the country. I'm guessing some of the recruits were maybe caught up in some of this. Who ended up missing the visit this weekend, and how big of a concern is it for Nebraska if they're not able to get some of these guys in, for the scheduled visit like that? And then ultimately, how do you feel like the weekend played out, as Nebraska had still quite a few guys on campus?
Yeah, I think the two biggest ones that coming out of this video that did make it in that I would be concerned about or have my eye on would be David Foloruncho, the number 13 player, number 2 defensive lineman in the country out of Chicago, and Tavares Harrington, 4-star safety also out of Chicago. Both those guys just couldn't make it in because of their flight. And with Foloruncho, he's tentatively planning to be back later this week, planning to be on campus tomorrow, but that isn't locked in stone. And, he's got a few other visits lined up over these next few weeks. And this was one of those recruitments where Nebraska, really needed to get him not only on campus, but he was originally scheduled to be in town for like across the week, and he was supposed to get in Friday and stick around through Sunday. Nebraska really needed that multi-day visit from him. And at this point, if he comes in tomorrow, it's going to be like a one-day visit. I think ideally the staff would like to reschedule that visit where they are able to get like a couple days with him, because for them, this might be it. This might be their one shot at him in terms of trying to earn an official visit. And they want to go all out. They want to have their best shot at setting a table. So that one really stings. With Harrington, it really is just a thing where I think Nebraska is trying to get closer to some decisions here in the DB room. They feel good about where they stand with a couple guys. Harrington's a guy I think within the region they'd love to get a shot at before they really start to narrow things down and start to accept more commitments. Because he's a bigger frame safety and a guy that they kind of see, just based on the film at least. He's one of these kind of younger safeties I think who could find a way onto the field pretty early. So Nebraska's battling Alabama and Georgia there. He's tentatively planning to or they're tentatively working to reschedule this visit now for the spring game, but we'll see if that visit happens. This is a recruitment that ultimately could just come down to Alabama and Georgia. Nebraska's been the program as of late really trying to work in there, but they need to get him on campus this month.
Tim, I wanted to ask you a broader, sort of a broad recruiting question. Obviously, it applies to Nebraska as well. We talked about over the years and how things have changed across college football, and everybody at the Power 5 level anyway, they have resources to sort of be able to recruit nationally and throw their net out wide. And it used to not be the case, where not everybody was sort of had the ability to do that. What I guess are the days of where you could expect one school to be good in one specific area of the country, like are those sort of behind us a little bit, where it feels like, am I just reading the room wrong, where it feels like everybody's sort of a national, really big net out wide recruiting operation at this point?
No, I do think there's something to that, just in the sense that, when you look across the country now, just look at what Nebraska is doing. I mean, they're everywhere. They're recruiting across the country. They don't really seem to have like a specific region they pluck from consistent. I mean, they have a couple, but for the most part, it really is kind of a coast to coast effort. I mean, I would say the biggest example of this is Texas. You look at the way Texas recruits. Texas used to just pluck from the best within the state and the best within the region. Now they're truly like a coast to coast recruiting operation. Texas A&M, the same thing. I mean, the amount of recruitment Nebraska finds themselves battling Texas A&M in is pretty remarkable. And it's not guys in Texas. It's guys up in the Northeast. It's guys up in Georgia. It's guys in California. Like it's everywhere. So part of this is relation. I mean, so the thing is, relationships do still matter. Like for Nebraska, for example, the goodwill that they've built in South Florida, that stuff matters, and you felt that this weekend. You will continue to feel it this month and the years to come. They've built up some good feelings in South Florida where they can go in there and have some recruiting success. Same goes for, I think Kansas City. I think same goes for they're getting in there in the Carolinas. And at least Addison Williams is really trying to make it happen out west in Southern California as well with some Trinity League players. But yeah, I think part of this is relationships you have with all these changing coaching staffs. Part of it is that, in my opinion, is some of these staffs change so much, and you have some of these guys at I wouldn't say the lower level of the staff, but these recruiting assistants and even these guys in the personnel side of things, and these assistants within the coaching staff itself, like the assistant wide receiver coach, the assistant O-line coach, where they may have some strong ties in certain areas. And so you see a school really go hard in that area while that coach is on staff. And then he leaves. And if you haven't really built up anything in that area in terms of like success and proven production, where you can turn around and say, okay, well, now we have these relationships in this area, that coach leaves, you move on from that area. And so part of it is that just the constant movement of the sport means I think some of these schools can't really establish where they want to establish or establish kind of these grounds where they want to. The other part of this is because of NIL, because of even the playing field. It's like, okay, yeah, well, why doesn't Texas recruit their own state the way they used to? It's like, well, they have to overspend to keep guys home because their programs out of state that, are willing to spend money on this type of player. Because for them, this is a luxury grab. This is we're going down into Texas. Like, okay, a really good example of this is Jamie Winfield last year. Big frame, probably the best defensive tackle in the state of Texas. He's at USC. Texas A&M didn't get him. Texas didn't get him. Oklahoma didn't get him. LSU didn't get him. Like all of these schools that you typically think, okay, and this is not a kid from Dallas or Houston or anything. He's from like Central Texas. He's from like a smaller program. So, but had a good connection to the USC staff, and USC spent a good amount of money to get him there, and so he's headed to USC. And so that's where it's one of those things where Texas and Texas A&M typically they're like, they would have been willing to spend money, but the amount that USC, the effort that USC put in, and the amount that USC dipped in to spend, this is a luxury ad for them. And Texas and Texas A&M couldn't really afford to spend that much on what would be the top defensive tackle in the state.
So last week we talked to you about Miami Palmetto wide receiver Caden Howard, who had the anchor leg in that track appearance a week before. On Friday, he ran a 10.6, which looks like it's a PR for him. Over the weekend, he was at Nebraska. Where is this recruitment at? And do you get a sense that this could be one Nebraska adds to the board sometime soon?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I have a prediction in. I input that last month. And you know, he told me yesterday, coming out of his visit, he now has a commitment date set for March 20th. This isn't open and shut necessarily. He's going to make a visit to Minnesota. I think that's the program running in second right now. They'll get a chance at him. He mentioned UCF's been coming at him pretty hard. He said they're a program that can't be counted out at this point. I know Mississippi State and Pitt would both like a shot at him before he decides. I don't think they'll get that. But yeah, like, I mean, he loved his first trip to Nebraska. He's heard a lot from Ja'Cory Barney Jr., who also played at Miami Palmetto. He's close with Cortez Mills. For him, it was really cool, I think, for him to see Ja'Cory in action, see the growth from Ja'Cory over these last 3 years, because he's familiar. He knows Ja'Cory's skill set. So this coaching staff has compared him to Barney, and I think for him, he sees it. You know, he just straight up told me, he was like, I was out there on the practice field, and I'm watching Ja'Cory, and I can see myself. You know, I can see what that could look like for me down the line. You know, and what this could look like, what this development could look like for me at Nebraska. So it's really hard not to like Nebraska coming out of this weekend, where they stand. And for him, he's a guy who would like an opportunity to contribute early. We saw that clip on Saturday of Larry Miles going deep. You know, and he took note of that. He took note of the kind of the opportunity Larry's getting. He took note of the fact that Ja'Cory got an opportunity to earn his way onto the field as a freshman. Cortez Mills, in a smaller capacity, earned his way onto the field as a freshman, and now he's seeing it again with Larry. And I think that's meaning a lot to him. So yeah, you know, he's going to have a decision here in the next few weeks, and my prediction's in on Nebraska, and I think that's where he ends up.
All right, Tim, we will let you go. As always, fantastic work. We appreciate it as always. Have a good rest of your week.
Thanks, Tim.
Appreciate you guys. That
is Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska. He's got the recruiting blitz on right now and on InsideNebraska.com and a whole bunch of different stuff. I also like talking football with him, too.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're going to talk about football.
He is a football guy.
He likes
He is
football.
of football.
Hot take, Tim Verghese loves football. I think he loves football.
Yeah.
You can confirm?
I can confirm.
We should have
Loves
asked
football.
him before we hung up with him there. Do you love football? Is that me, Tim, or do you love football?
Loves
it's a,
football.
yeah, I think
I'll make
I
sure to
love
put the agenda up for next Monday.
talk about football?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Joey. Appreciate it. We always need reminders here. Stay tuned. We'll get caught up on Nebraska baseball's weekend with Michael Bruns coming up at about 9:20. We have a few things to cover, including our state of college hoops, where college hoops biggest talkers are always saying something stupid.
Good.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone. It appears as if the Dolphins are unloading this morning. Tua Tagovailoa will be released or has been released. I think it was.
It's a has been released.
Has been released, and according to a report that I just saw floating out there, the Dolphins are also trading Minkah Fitzpatrick, unloading him for a 6th-round pick to the New York Jets.
Wow.
The Packers have made a trade in the last 20 or so minutes, Joey.
Yeah.
Oh, the last 20 minutes?
They traded defensive lineman Rashawn Gary to the Cowboys.
Oh, I thought they released him because
No.
I know he's going to the Cowboys, but I guess, yeah, they released him. I was expecting this to happen. There was a lack of production from him since the Micah Parsons injury. You did not see a whole lot of eye-dropping stats from him.
Would you like to hear your return?
Yeah, yes. Share that with me.
Grade this trade, Joey Colbert. The Cowboys, in exchange for Rashawn Gary, get a 4th-rounder in 2027.
Yeah, I think Rashawn Gary, considering how he's
Good deal?
I think it's a good deal.
For you or for them?
I think good deal for the Packers
Okay.
getting a draft pick from Dallas.
A future 4th-round pick for a currently available player feels like a good deal for Dallas.
It's
hard to see this going poorly.
This is an
really for either of
this
the
this
sides.
screams an offensive lineman draft pick for the Packers, and they really do need to fill that gap because they're going to release their long-time left guard who turned the center and had a.
But they won't
season.
take this pick for another year,
right?
For another year.
2027.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Guy,
I was expecting this to happen. They got a new linebacker on the team from the Colts, and he's been productive. So we'll
let
go
you
from
know
there.
if any more NFL trades cross our timeline this morning. Back to college basketball, where, like I mentioned before the break, college basketball talkers, like the main, 8 to 10 people, they're always saying something stupid these days. And I don't know how to get through to these people to tell them to stop. So a common offender of saying something stupid recently has been Seth Davis. It's sad, but he said a lot of dumb things. So we just have to call him out for it on this show. Here's what he said yesterday morning for some reason that I cannot really explain. He says, this is also a reminder that conferences are not required to give their automatic bids to tourney champs. They can give it to the regular season champs. They can draw a name out of a hat. They can have a mahjong tournament, however they like.
Okay.
What is he saying?
He's saying that
he doesn't
everyone
think
could be like the Ivy League if they wanted to be.
The Ivy League has a tournament now.
Well, they
The
could
Ivy
have been
League's
like
had
the
a tournament
previous
for like
Ivy
3
League.
years.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't understand why this is a thing. I get that there's this weird dichotomy between you want to reward the regular season champion of a small conference by getting the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament.
This is are we so short-sighted? Once again, Seth Davis has been talking about the stupid 900 team tournament thing that he wants to do. He's like, who wouldn't watch it? It's like, that's not the point, Seth. Stop doing this. You are gaslighting everyone into thinking it's a good idea, and it's not. And then people look at this crap and they're like, hey, listen, he might be right. Look at what happened to Navy yesterday.
Yeah.
Look at that team should have been in the NCAA tournament. Look at what could happen to Miami of Ohio. Stuff like that. Guess what? That's the way the cookie crumbles, man. That's how it works. And over a long period of time, over many, many conferences and many, many conference tournaments, most of the time, the 1 seeds will win in those low major conferences. And there's a reason why they've dominated the league all year long, if that is indeed the case. But sometimes they don't. And sometimes people have to be sad. And that's just the way the world works. So we can't artificially manufacture everything just so everyone that deserves to be happy gets to be happy. That's not the way the world works. Sometimes the people who deserve to be happy have to be sad. If I'm to boil this down to happy versus sad, sometimes that's the way it has to work. Sometimes people who are destined to be sad get to be happy. And there's no reason why. You can have a horrible season and make the NCAA tournament. It's been done thousands of times. Georgetown did
thousands of times.
Georgetown made the NCAA
Dozens,
tournament.
hundreds,
It's
either one.
been done so many times.
Sure.
We don't get to manufacture this stuff. It is random. You have created a postseason setup where it is all to the tournament. It is all just geared toward the NCAA tournament. And the tournament is random by nature. And so that's the way it's going to be.
So here's what I don't understand about this take is like, if you were a conference, you're always going to want the conference tournament because that allows your conference to even be visible in the first place. Nobody would care about the Pioneer, or Patriot League.
Yeah.
If Navy hadn't lost and it was just like, oh, Navy's in the tournament now.
But what if they were doing a Patriot League Mahjong game?
Well, then I think people would be interested in so much as they're interested in either the Patriot League or Mahjong. Neither of which seem like they have enough of a following relative to degenerates who just want to see basketball, degenerates who want to bet on the basketball, and then degenerates who just like to follow, the tournament as it comes out. And so if they play their semifinal game and their title game on ESPN and they get paid to do this, the conference is going to be like, yeah, we're going to keep taking the money and we'll just never have this Mahjong tournament. So I like some of it is just that. And the other part of it is people want to see people earn their way in with wins in the tournament format. Nobody wants the regular season champion to be the person in the tournament because there's not drama to that.
I agree. I agree completely. That's the whole fun of watching these low major tournaments.
That's why this week is fun.
Yeah. But Seth Davis wants to manufacture it so the best teams win all the time.
Well, basically what it does is it takes away any publicity of those conferences at all. No one's going to watch a Big Sun game to see, how a team does, but they might watch the Big Sun semifinal or final because it's just on their television.
You know why I'm going to be watching the MAC tournament this week? Because
you want to see what happens with Miami of Ohio.
Well, not only want to see what happens, there is a pretty decent chance they lose. And I want to watch what happens when they do. And then I want to watch on Selection Sunday to see what they do with them. Are
you going to be watching Bruce Pearl's Twitter feed?
No,
he's actually in favor now of
potentially
he's
gone
MAC
full.
teams.
He's gone full wrestling heel, I believe. So nice.
He's
job.
betraying his own son.
They're 16 and 15, and people still have them in as like
Joe Lenardi,
first four team or whatever, and I don't get it.
Great question from Sam on Twitter on the Liquid Trucking Twitter feed. Why even play March Madness? We could just award the title to the number one Ken Pom team. It's a great point. Signed, Seth Davis.
What would be the BCS system of basketball?
It'd be atrocious.
You would just immediately play the national championship game?
Yeah.
How does that even work?
Yeah, I guess.
It'd just be the top
everyone
two.
just gets done playing, and it's like, all right, season's over.
Just have the college football version of bowl games for
Who's
basketball.
the Ken Pom 1 and 2? So it'd be Duke and Michigan, I'm assuming.
I would imagine so. You get done with conference tournaments, and then you just pick what are the two best teams.
You're like Arizona over here, like, okay, this was my conference, and so I don't get to play.
Correct. Arizona is the odd man left out.
Enjoy Mahjong.
Mahjong for non-competitive reasons either. You're just playing Mahjong for the love of the game at that point.
For the love of the Mahjong.
Florida, Illinois, Houston, Iowa State, all thinking they have a chance to win a national championship.
Nope.
Like, not anymore.
Nothing for you.
Nope. You don't get to have any fun. What an excellent idea. Just play the games on paper.
Yeah, we're pro games.
That will make it better. All right, we'll come back, 9:00 hour. I have some more college basketball. I feel like I have to college basketball explain some things to people. We'll talk to Michael Bruns. All coming up in the 9:00 hour of Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. We have news. It may have been alluded to several times in this show before by one Mike J. Schaefer, but officially announced from the University of Nebraska moments ago. Nebraska has agreed to a contract extension with men's basketball coach Fred Hoiberg.
What?
As announced by Troy Dannon today. The contract will extend through the 2031-2032 season. And we'll get the financial figures on this as we probably within the next hour or so would be my guess. But I would imagine there would be an increase there, and maybe even, I'm surprised that Nebraska didn't pair along with this an announcement of like, we are also investing, because that's what universities have really done over the last 2 years. They're like, yeah, we're going to bring our coach back, or yeah, we're going to fire our coach and hire a new coach. And also we have an increased amount of investment into the program in terms of resources that the coach is given. So it doesn't appear that that is in this press release. But Fred Hoiberg extended through 2032.
Yeah, I would guess he'll bump back into being one of the top 10 page coaches in the country. He was down in like the mid-teens coming into the year.
What was he making? 4.5?
4.75. Does that sound right?
4.35.
Okay.
In his base salary this season.
Well, he's getting more than the base. I know that.
He's getting more than he's definitely getting more than the base. He's going to have some bonuses that he would have made this year. Yes, so probably in the neighborhood of 4.5 this year.
Yeah.
The contract that he was originally, the contract that was extended in 2024 by interim athletic director Dennis LeBlanc was set to run through 2029. So this is effectively a 3-year extension.
Yeah, and probably resetting pay, maybe some structure about what the overall NIL operation looks like for Nebraska basketball. All of that, I'm sure, is with the focus on investing in what has been a really fun season that still could be quite a lot of fun going into next year.
So I would assume the contract is effective immediately. The extension is effective immediately. Here was in his previous contract, since we don't have the details of this one yet, in the way the contract was written before today, what the incentives were. So for winning the conference regular season or conference tournament championship, so you win the regular season, it's $100,000. You win the conference tournament, it's $100,000. You'd have that on the line. Maybe that's gone up because they're going to have a chance to do that. And then appearances in the NCAA tournament, $150,000 just for an appearance in the NCAA tournament. And then $30,000 extra if they win a game, $40,000 on top of that if they win 2, 55, 75, and then $300,000 if they win the national championship.
Wow.
So I don't know if those numbers have changed or adjusted or whatever it is a little bit, but Fred Hoiberg is
there any
your Nebraska basketball coach
accolade or anything in there for postseason coaching accolade or Big Ten Conference Coach of the Year?
Yes,
kind of thing.
I'm sure.
Because I would be pretty surprised if he doesn't win that.
He's absolutely the Big Ten Coach of the Year.
I don't know that there's like a super close second.
Yeah. I mean, they'll probably try and pump up Dusty May.
I mean, you can, but
it's
they were expected to be as good as they have been. So I don't know that that's like not to take away from his coaching job because they went 28-2.
I don't see it.
29-2.
I don't see any incentives like that in the existing contract.
Interesting. Maybe that was why they did this one so they could get him a little extra money for his troubles.
Little Christmas bonus, like Clark Griswold. Start to build the pool, baby. I think he's probably okay.
I would imagine Hoiberg doesn't want to be a member of the Jelly of the Month Club. Wine of the Month, maybe.
Jelly of the Month Club. So awesome news, obviously. Now let me ask you this, Schaefer. How long has it been since we've had a normal contract extension? And by normal, I mean, we're talking about the football coach, the basketball coach, or I guess the baseball coach. But really, we're just talking about the football and the basketball coach at Nebraska, where it did not appear that he was in, being pursued by other universities.
Yeah, I don't know that he.
He probably wouldn't have entertained it anyway, but there's that piece of it. And he had won consistently, and specifically this year, to say, "Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he got an extension or he got 3 more years, or the money comes up or whatever it is." None of this is surprising, which makes it surprising actually for Nebraska, because they've been doing very unnormal contract extensions for a long time.
So it's funny, like
Fred's last one was executed by an interim athletic director.
So I heard about this a couple weeks ago. I mentioned it kind of on the show, but when it was brought up to my attention, my initial reaction was like, "Oh yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense," but it wasn't like anything that I was even thinking about.
Sure, yeah, you're like, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Sure, go for it."
And I don't know what he is behind the scenes. You only know the presentation of what he is in front of cameras, and then how people talk about him. Fred doesn't seem like he's would be a high maintenance individual to work with as it comes to something like this.
I'm going to go with a hard no on that.
And so it's probably more likely, just like Troy Dannon wanted to present this to him. I can't imagine it took a long time to iron this out. I had posticulated early in this show's history.
Posticulated.
Like, what if Hoiberg just decides, like, after the end of Sam's career, Nebraska wins a tournament game. Like, what if he no, there's not going to be that. There's no sunset ride. He's coming back to coach more kids.
Posticulate a word?
Posticulate?
Yeah, you just said it. To suggest, yeah. Postulate.
Postulate.
That's what you're looking for,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You said posticulate. I was like, whoa, what is that? I mean, you're a wordsmith because of the writing background.
No, I
just was going to go with it. Then I
had
thought,
my own
Google
mispronunciation to it to really spice things up.
Might as well. So congrats to Fred Hoiberg, well deserved, and a normal contract extension for Nebraska for the first time in a while. As we switch gears, let's go to something that is less normal and involves a person who has been in charge at the University of Nebraska before.
Bill Moose?
No, his boss.
Bill Moose's boss?
Yep.
Ted Carter?
Yes.
Ohio State?
Do you want to hear some Ted Carter news?
Jake Diebler?
Nope, not Jake
All
Diebler.
right, let's get some Ted Carter news.
Breaking from the Columbus Dispatch. Ohio State President Ted Carter resigns over inappropriate relationship.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
I'm clicking on it now.
This would be a clickable link.
Yeah. He disclosed an inappropriate relationship to the board of trustees. Carter told trustees in advance of that meeting that he had an inappropriate relationship with, quote, someone seeking public resources to support her personal business, according to a university statement. He offered to resign, and the board accepted. The board was surprised and disappointed to learn of this matter. The board, I just imagine the board, what's the show? Severance. We're like, the board agrees.
Yeah.
The board was surprised and disappointed to learn of this matter and takes the situation and its potential impact on the university very seriously. The Ohio State Board of Trustees Chair John Zeiger said in a letter accepting Carter's resignation. Wah, wah, wee, wah. Ted Carter. Yikes. That's not normal. Fred Hoiberg's contract extension is.
Weaving these two things together is
it was
remarkable.
breaking news. I had to
like,
say it. I don't have much of a comment other than yikes.
Well, it's unfortunate that Ted Carter has derailed what has been otherwise a pretty well-regarded career.
Seeking public funds for her personal business? Yikes.
Sounds like a no-bid situation, which seems to happen.
Jason writes in on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. They are going to give Coach of the Year to Dusty May because it's Michigan and they get what they want. There actually is some precedent to say that Michigan does get what they want.
They do often. But I don't think they're going to get this. I think it'll go to Fred.
You will never get this. You will never get this. I don't think so either. I think it's going to be Fred Hoiberg's job. Also, Tony writes in, On the rewatch,
This is great. I
when-
love this tweet.
when Mast
Thank you, Tony.
hits his last baby hook, which we got to go find this. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see Kent Pavelka bent over with both arms raised, like he was, praising Rick Mast. Imagine something like this. Then he looks at someone in the stands and does a dance where he shakes his butt.
I love it. I love it.
I love it.
Kent just feeling it.
Kent, I'm telling you, we said it earlier. If you weren't around with us in the 6 o'clock hour, we are dead serious, and I don't think there's really a close second.
He's having the time of his life.
Nobody is enjoying this more than Kent Pavelka.
Yeah, you think you're enjoying it. You're like, I've been around for a lot of Nebraska basketball. I've wallowed through this. Kent has been around for more Nebraska basketball than you, I'm guessing. Not you, Connor Happer, because that's obvious.
Definitely he has, yes.
Almost
but anyone, yes.
The majority of Nebraska basketball fans, and he has called a lot of games and has been in a lot of spots. And so if he felt like that was the time to get up and
shake
let
his
loose
butt
a little bit after Mast hits a baby hook, who are we to
So
disagree?
when did Mast hit this shot? Was it
late in the second half, I want to say.
Okay,
It was when
it wasn't in
both teams were kinda
overtime
on their
though.
scoring run. I think it was in regulation.
I believe you're right.
I'm gonna look up the play-by-play, which ESPN has changed, and I hate their new format.
I'm on the extended highlights right now, just so I could. Maybe they include it, maybe they don't. Usually they include most of the. Oh, maybe I have it right here. 3:15-ish. Okay, here's Mast. He baby hook. There it is. Okay, 3:11. There's. What? Okay, look at Cat in the red sweater down here, Schaefer. And he's up and dancing.
That is incredible.
What do you think? That was right before. And then they got that alley oop to Sturts, who backdoor cut off the corner. But what do you think? Like Connor Onion is sitting 1 foot away from him. Basically, he's probably the next closest guy.
Well, clearly Connor was just talking about Iowa the whole time. He wasn't paying attention.
No, that was just what Caller said earlier. Scott, we are a pro Connor Onion show.
I don't have a Connor Onion opinion.
You should. It should be that he's good.
My initial reaction when I saw that he was doing the game with Nick Baugh was, "Oh, Happer will be excited." Legitimately, my first reaction.
There you go.
And I don't know if it's a Connor thing.
It is a Connor thing.
Okay.
Also, he's good.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with him. I didn't think it was a particularly Iowa slant.
I love onions.
So I disagreed a little bit with Scott.
Let's take a break. But that is a great YouTube video. Maybe I'll cut the clip and somebody I'm sure will. Let's take a break. Michael Bruns joins us next on 1620 The Zone.
Broncos country, let's ride.
The Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. I said the Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. Bronx is back in town. Bronx is back in town. Bronx is back in town.
Michael Brooks, Husker 24/7 on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
Well, I heard this song no less than 3 times this weekend. And not the Brunts version, obviously, as sung beautifully by Joey Colbert, but I did hear the Thin Lizzy version, and I said, well, something's going on here. And I thought of our dear friend Michael Brunts, who joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Hello, Michael.
Was it was it like during infield practice or something?
It was.
It feels like a very infieldy type song.
It was no less or no more than 40 minutes before the game started. each of the 3 games, I think. So
yeah, that makes sense.
It was like I think that song and like Black Betty. Those are standards of just whipping it around the infield about 40 minutes before a game.
They still does Haymarket Park still rip off any, like the classics, the center field?
Oh, the worst song.
Your Love by the Outfield. I know kids were using that as their batting song a lot as of a couple of years ago. What's the playlist sound like?
Yeah, no, I think it's the playlist hasn't ever changed. That never changes, but I think Will Jeske's walk-up music as the outfield, Your Love. I think it's like contractually obligated that every college baseball team has at least one player that uses that as their walk-up music. Like, you're not a real college baseball team if somebody doesn't have that.
I think that is accurate.
Brunt, I never saw it on Twitter, and maybe I just missed it, but what were your thoughts on your friend Purdue Pete hitting a half-court shot granny style before the game that they lost to Wisconsin on Saturday?
Nailed it. What number in line do you think you were of the person that sent that to me?
Well, I tweeted it at you like about 2 minutes after seeing it happen on the broadcast. They showed a replay of it, and then I waited until I found the right video that I liked online to just link it to then send it to you. I'm gonna guess I was third.
Yeah, you're actually third. Yep.
Pretty good.
But
that is such a strong brand that you have.
I was like, is something going on here? I was like, oh, Purdue Pete just did something.
If anyone is on your For You page on Twitter today, just if you see it, send it over to Michael Brutz. You could be the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th.
Haven't seen it yet.
Brutz hasn't quite seen it yet. All right, a successful weekend for Nebraska baseball. Had to go the distance plus on Friday, but made up for it with a run rule win on Sunday. What'd you see? What'd you like this weekend against Michigan State?
Yeah, kind of, the first 2 games very different from the third. Needed the extra inning on Friday night. Got Case Sanderson, probably the hero of the weekend. Hits a solo walk-off home run before the skies opened. So that was the most important thing, was he got everybody out of there without having another rain delay.
Hell yeah.
Saturday, you got the full Carson Yasa experience: 9 strikeouts, 6 walks, 1 hit batter, 5 innings, and looked okay. Nebraska did enough, and then Sundays have been a little hit or miss for them so far this year, but they came in and beat up on a pitcher that they should have, and got everybody over to Pinnacle Bank Arena an hour early to get a beer before the big game. So I don't know. I mean, I think pitching bounced back. I think for the most part, I think the starting pitching after Auburn, you're kind of like, okay, how's this going to look? Especially Blackowitz and Yasa needed to bounce back, and I thought they were really good. Blackowitz was great yesterday. I mean, seven innings, struck out 11, was never really in any kind of trouble in that game. And, it's going to be interesting to watch going forward what they kind of do, because you've got Cooper Katsky, who is throwing very, very well right now.
Yeah.
And is essentially your midweek guy.
There's no way he doesn't work into the weekend soon, right?
But I don't know who you move out.
Yeah.
Yas has been what you kind of have, what he's always been. You know what that kind of looks like. And I don't know. I think there's probably some value too in having that kind of a pitcher going midweeks and then having them available on the weekend, on Fridays, to back up Horn. So the thing to remember too, Nebraska's doing their Tour to Summit League right now, but they've got Kansas State as a midweek coming up, which is a big RPI game. They've got Kansas, twice in the midweeks, which are big RPI games. Creighton certainly is just, big from a rivalry perspective. So, having a pitcher in that role that can handle a Tuesday night, I mean, I think there's a lot, it's a luxury and something that Nebraska hasn't had in quite a while.
You get this a lot where you get a guy in Dylan Carey that's been around a while. He's now in his fourth season, and he is going off with a 456 batting average. He's got a slug of 824, which is not a normal sequence of numbers for a slug percentage of any level of baseball. So, do you think this is, not that anyone's going to sustain an 824 slug, but do you think we can get one of those sort of massive senior season outcomes all year from Dylan Carey? Or is this more of kind of a hot stretch for a guy who's never hit over 270, 275, I think is his high at Nebraska so far?
Yeah, no, I would lean yes. I don't know that it's going to be on the level it is now, but I mean, I think what you're seeing is you're seeing somebody that, very clearly thought that he was either going to be drafted or signed as a free agent last summer to start his professional career. And the scouts basically came back to him and said, hey, we need to see more power. Sorry, maybe next year. And, Dylan Carey is probably one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. Just really easy to talk to. But he's going to the plate really pissed off this year. You can just kind of tell he's got a little bit more of an edge than maybe what he's had in the past. I think he really kind of took that as motivation coming into this year. The thing that's different about him too, he used to be really susceptible to off-speed pitches and breaking stuff, and he's either laying off of that or is timing it up a lot better than what he's done in the past. And I think that's been a big difference from why you've kind of seen the power numbers. Because, I mean, it's not like he's just doing it against, with all due, Omaha and South Dakota State. I mean, he was hitting against the teams in Texas. He was doing it against the teams in Arizona. And so, I think there's a little bit more there than just kind of a hot streak, which is good for Nebraska. I mean, they've got a guy in the middle of the lineup they can really count on. He's hitting with runners on, runners in scoring position, you name it. So, his start's been pretty remarkable to see. It was kind of trending that way last year, but the doubles are now getting over the fence, and that's a good sign for him.
Bruns, did you know that Nebraska's two opponents this week are a combined 4-26 on the young season?
Yeah, North Dakota State got Vandy yesterday though.
They did, which is amazing. For their second win of the year, they got Vanderbilt to pair it along with their nice Monmouth win.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, don't mess around with the Catamounts. Catamounts, right? Monmouth Catamounts?
No, that's Vermont.
I think Vermont's the Catamounts.
Okay, sorry.
Monmouth looks like some sort of bird according to their logo here. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, the week ahead for Nebraska baseball, it on paper looks a little bit less challenging, maybe.
Little light. I mean, North Dakota State. I mean, they don't play home games until like late April. They've been doing the barnstorming thing.
Maine is amazing. Maine even having a baseball program is incredible to me.
Here's some trivia for you. You ready?
Yes.
How many College World Series appearances do you think Maine has made during their program history?
Well, I assume something's up here, but my guess would absolutely be 0. No College World Series for Maine.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. No.
They have appeared in 7 College World Series.
That is amazing.
You're gonna have to explain this.
They get Maine. Like, what years were these?
It's back a ways. I think they used to decide it it was done by region. So you'd see a lot of teams sneak in that perhaps now would not have as easy of a chance of getting to the College World Series. So Northern Colorado was a mainstay in the College World Series back in the day as well. But yeah, we were flipping through the Maine baseball history, and they were well represented in the College World Series.
Holy
way
smokes!
back in the day.
That as recently as '86.
Yeah, they were regional champs in '86.
Yeah, so you can amaze your friends with that factoid. But yeah, that was surprising to me. But I suspect that this year's team will not be playing in Omaha in June.
Could you imagine if we lined it up for the College World Series and they introduced the two teams, and on one side it's the Miami Hurricanes and on the other side it's the Maine Black Bears? That would be incredible theater.
People would love rooting for Maine.
I would root so hard
Black
for Maine.
Bears gear would be flying out of those
Yes.
shops down there in the Omaha Baseball Village.
Everybody be doing like I'm assuming there's some kind of like black bear growl every time they score a run.
Not the Nittany Lion growl, but yeah, same idea.
Yeah. So that's your trivia for the day. But yeah, I think Nebraska just got to stay focused and play their game, and they'll be fine this week.
You got any overarching thoughts on Nebraska's win against Iowa on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know. Like I think there's some hand wringing going on maybe with the way the season kind of ended. But I mean, they're a little bit more battle tested now. Is that fair to say? Like I think that.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of my takeaway going into the tournament. But I don't know. I mean, it was good to see Cale Jacobson play the way he did. I mean, I think everybody's it was senior day. Everybody's kind of wondering naturally. You look forward, like who's going to be the next Sam Hoiberg, and I mean maybe Cale Jacobson threw his hat in the ring with that game on senior day. I don't know, but it was good to see them finish that one off, because I can't imagine the level of disappointment in that building if they had not done so. And I think it kind of maybe put the UCLA game a little bit in the rear view going to the tournament. So I mean it's kind of everything you needed there.
That would have been a shell shock place had they had actually lost that game in regulation. That would have been very, very
Not
different.
Football. They got it over the finish line.
Yeah. All right, Brunts. Thanks as always. Have a good rest of your week. Talk to you later.
Yep. See you guys.
Michael Brunts from Husker 24/7, covering the Maine Black Bears baseball team.
They dominated the 80s, Maine did.
It's amazing.
Now, 81, 82, 83,
So
and 86.
he's right. We talked with, yesterday on the baseball broadcast, we talked with Eric Kennedy, who was on the 91 Creighton College World Series team. And he said it was before like the regional format as you know it now. That just went into play in 1999. And so it's actually by region. So sometimes you can have crap teams in there or whatever it is. And you end up in the College World Series. And if you win it, you're in. That's it. There was no like playoff against another, whatever it might be. So yeah, I guess it's not surprising. I mean, it's definitely surprising when you see it's Maine, but when you think about how they got there, it is it's maybe less so. Maine will come to Nebraska this weekend, and then they will play Omaha next Monday. They stay around for an extra game? They don't play their home opener till the end of the month. Gonzaga, who Creighton just played over the weekend, doesn't play at home until, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's early April. And they were one of them. North Dakota State obviously is routinely one of them. Just they can't get home until April, and even those games are shaky.
Yeah, that's got to be a tough way to operate. Do we want to consider?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how this is exactly pronounced. Do we want to consider Orono as our city of the?
We do.
City of the day for Friday.
Consider it done.
Okay.
Orono, Maine.
I did not go there when I was up in Maine. That was further inland where I spent my time.
I think nobody really thinks about inland Maine.
I don't. I think we passed through when we went to Prince Edward Island on a road trip.
Okay. All right. Maybe Joey can help us out a little bit.
Well, I didn't venture in the city, so it doesn't count for me to actually be there.
Why do people keep texting and commenting about where Frager is? What do you mean? He played 20 minutes yesterday.
18, but yeah. 18 is 20.
We've got like several YouTube comments like, what's going on with Frager? And we just got to text, what's going on? Can we talk about what's going on with Frager? Is he out? Like, no, you watch the game. He scored.
Yeah.
points.
He was the recipient of the
excellent
unbelievable
pass,
pass from Lawrence, where they set up where all of Iowa collapsed on Stanford.
It's okay.
And he was all by himself under the basket. Yes, I am aware of the photo going around of him sitting on the bench while the team was in a timeout.
Yeah. So
he played immediately after that.
So Jimmy, yeah, he's been commenting on this all show. Like he played and it looked normal.
Yeah.
And
He played a little less because Bearkay and Cale Jacobson had great games.
Correct.
And so you didn't need to use him as much.
Ride the hot hand.
He probably played a little bit less because they didn't want more him on Bennett Sturts if they could avoid it.
Correct. I apologize if people were actually asking, but there was enough people asking about it where I'm like, what are we serious? Or what's going on here? So we got it out of the way.
I don't know how much time we have for this, but
Not much.
I do feel like there's this weird need to manufacture like something.
Facts, Schaefer.
It's going well. Can we just not like acknowledge that it's going well? This is such a non-thing.
I haven't seen that.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's just a non-thing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree
They
completely.
beat Iowa. They're the number 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Prager will play against whoever they play.
That is right.
Whether it's Northwestern, Penn State, Indiana, or Purdue.
Indeed. It could be any of those teams.
It really could.
Except for if you're Penn State, you have to win 4 games in a row in order to get there.
3, I think.
All right. Yeah, I think it's 3. Let's come back. Our bracket sim of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't make Schaefer sad this time.
No.
After this on 1620 The Zone. It's time for our bracket sim of the day. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you.
Big moment.
On Happer and Schaefer, our final segment. We probably do need better bracket sim of the day as an entity is probably about to fire his agent because they need a little bit more, we stuff it at the end of the show. It's a great segment. Schaefer is very invested in it.
Very much so.
And it doesn't get much pub.
I was afraid we were going to have to cancel it after the last one.
Well,
thankfully.
I didn't
Thankfully, Schaefer's crawling back and wanting more.
I never wanted it to go away. I just didn't like what it was telling me. I mean, there's a big difference there.
Let's see if Schaefer likes what it's telling.
Oh no, I didn't
today.
like that giggle.
All right, so number 1 seeds, as is tradition, Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and this time Florida.
Oh wow, they didn't get to stay number 1 when they lost to Marquette.
Florida. I said Florida.
Yeah, I know. I'm
sorry about you not staying.
No, UConn does not get to be the 1 seed after losing to Marquette.
Stunned by this.
It's very weird, but good teams everywhere lose to Marquette. It happens. So Nebraska, you're looking for their place in the bracket. They are a 3 seed. They have been a 3 seed every time we've done this. 6 times now.
I'm pretty close to just putting it in Sharpie.
It was just 3 seed. I mean, I suppose they could be a 2, but I don't think it's going low. I mean, it's not going lower.
I don't see how they'd be a 4.
Yeah, no,
I think they pretty much locked in being a 3.
3 seed. And the most common opponent that we have seen them play is Troy.
Mm-hmm.
And yet again, here's another matchup with Troy.
Oh, wow.
In the first round of the NCAA tournament, according to the most recent bracket sim as run by EvanMai.com.
But Troy needs to beat Georgia Southern today, who has made a run in the Sun Belt Conference tournament.
People forget. By the way, there are 2 conference championship tickets to be punched tonight. We have 5 already in: High Point, Northern Iowa, Long Island, Tennessee State, North Dakota State. The Sun Belt and the SoCon are this evening if you're interested in watching tickets getting punched. Okay, so then what happens to 3rd seed Nebraska? Do they win? Yes, they do. They beat Troy in the first round. We have yet to have a situation where they have lost in the first round, right?
No, that was what happened
They lost on Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we were just disappointed because they...
No, they lost on Friday.
Who'd
and
they
then
lose to?
There was another
Hawaii.
run, so they couldn't partake in...
I think it was Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii took them out on Friday.
My apologies.
A big wave.
That's why you were so crushed.
I was
All right,
crushed.
so Nebraska has won an NCAA tournament game for the first time ever. And the reward, finding them on the other side, is a winner of a 6-11 game between BYU,
So this is in Oklahoma City.
6 seed, and undefeated Miami of Ohio.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Undefeated Miami of Ohio has beaten BYU
Take that,
in
AJ.
the first round. And Nebraska and Miami.
This is a matchup everybody wants.
This is Mr. Snavely's worst nightmare.
Wow.
I don't know what's going to happen to him. And to the victors go the spoils. Miami beats Nebraska.
They just can't get out of this 6-11 matchup.
Miami beats Nebraska in the round of 32 and advances to the Sweet 16.
A single-seeded team has yet to
Maxim.
beat Nebraska in a bracket sim since we've started doing this. It has been
All double-digit seeds.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
It has been Hawaii. It has been Texas A&M. And now it
Miami
is
of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio.
Oh, no. Miami of Ohio.
Disaster.
This is kind of a wacky. Well, it just so happens to
Maybe
always
they ran
get
into Florida. Maybe they did. The first one was maybe
the
Florida.
last 2. The one that we did on Friday,
Yeah, I
it was
think
the
you're right.
same deal where like there was very isolated situations
Randomness.
of like bracketness. And they both happened in Nebraska's area and largely because of Nebraska. And that is also the case here. So Miami of Ohio in this sim goes to the Sweet 16 where they will face St. Mary's,
Wow.
who beat
West Coast.
The
as
7 seed?
a 7 seed, beat Houston in the round of 32
That could happen.
and advanced to the Sweet 16. Then they beat Miami of Ohio. So they go to the Elite Eight, the regional final where they play Michigan and lose, I'm sure, handily in that situation. Final four in this specific bracket, Sim, is all 1 seeds. Duke, Michigan, Florida, and Arizona. Curious about anybody else?
Duke, Michigan, Florida, and Arizona.
Those are the final four teams.
Yeah.
Are you curious about how anybody else did?
I'm sure Schaefer is curious about Kansas or UConn.
Yeah, I think either one of those are fine.
Kansas beat Northern Iowa. Whoa, juicy. Kansas beat Northern Iowa in the first round.
Okay.
Shout out to Ali Farouk Manash. Then they lose to Vanderbilt.
Well, that doesn't seem possible. Because Vanderbilt won't win in the first round.
UConn got bumped down to a 2 seed where they play Merrimack, win, beat Miami of Florida, win, beat Purdue, and then lose to Florida in the regional final.
Okay. So
Not so bad.
I don't know that there's anybody else that where's Illinois? Did they make a run?
Illinois is a 2 seed. They beat Villanova in the round of 32, then Wisconsin in the Sweet 16, and then lose to Arizona in the regional final. Your national champion is the Arizona Wildcats.
Wow.
Wildcat, he can see you.
4 1s. We've seen that once before.
Interesting. Seems like the ones maybe are a little bit stronger this year. All right, that is going to do it for us. As always, we appreciate you being with us today. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossover is coming up next.